A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
And now, the Goldbergs. After Sylvia Allison left town, putting an end to the confusion and turmoil into which he'd thrown everybody, Jake Goldberg looked forward to a little peace and quiet in the bosom of his own family. But Jake was too optimistic. He is now the reluctant host of another visitor, Seymour's sister, Bertie. It seems that Bertie found out that Seymour is in love with Rosie Goldberg, and she's determined to nip this romance in the bud. So as it turned out, it was Jake who did the nipping. But Bertie isn't through with the Goldbergs yet, as Jake is soon to discover.
Well, darling, why don't we get in a few minutes, darling? I'm just beginning to stir, darling. And I'll be finished in a little while. Papa wanted pancakes, so we have to wait a few minutes just for pancakes, darling. We don't make it 1, 2, 3. There's Papa and Sammy. Papa's on the porch, and Sammy went to the mill. Sammy went to the mill? Why did he run to the mill? Why didn't he wait for the pancakes? I told him I would be done in a jiffy, huh? Tell Papa in a few minutes I'll be ready with the pancakes.
And why did you have to bother with pancakes, Mom?
Because your Papa had a sudden desire for pancakes.
Well, Molly?
Yeah? I'm just beginning to stir, darling. I'm just beginning to stir. And I'll have them ready in a jiffy.
Make plenty, Molly.
As much as the potatoes will make, that's how many pancakes I can make. And that's not so many, Jay, darling, because I neglected to order potatoes when I was in the village. But what I have, darling, I'm making.
Then I hope we are not having company for lunch.
We have no company for lunch. Papa's already worried we're going to have company for lunch. Oh, he told me, darling, so don't stand here. Put knives, put forks, put pepper, put salt, put bread, put butter. Go, Mama, you. But why do you have to stand? Rachel, I should tell you, darling, please.
All right, Mom.
Hand me from over there, darling, the big box of salt. I want to shake myself in some salt. Go. Oh, thank you very much. Well, here. Where did Seymour sister Brady went?
To the village.
Oh.
I wish she'd go home.
Suppose she will. She didn't came here permanent. I wish she go home. Put on napkins, darling, please.
All right.
So Papa dear, put on napkins.
Aren't you going to eat?
I'll nibble also. I want a diamond and bracelets, everything. Daddy.
Ma.
Yeah?
Did Seymour's sister say anything else to you?
No, darling.
You think that a woman at her age would have more sense. Imagine thinking that I would be an obstacle in Seymour's life.
Well, Molly, my appetite will be over soon.
All right, darling, in a minute. Appetite will be over. Papa thinks in 1, 2, 3. I can shake pancakes out of my sleeve. You don't really have to peel the potatoes. I can rub the potatoes. To stir up the potatoes. You don't make 1, 2, 3. It's easy to make a chicken. You put the chicken in the stove for 1, 2, 3. If it's a Springer, it gets done. Say the pancakes with something else. Rose, darling, go out in the chicken coop and see if I have any eggs today, darling,
all
in
right.
the chicken coop, darling. I don't know what's the matter with my white leghorns. They're not laying. Go, dear.
All right, Mom.
And don't tarry because Papa's hungry and I'm beginning to fry already, dear. See? Please, dear. I want a diamond ring and bracelets and everything. Daddy, you ought to get the best for me. I will look well in sables and everything. Daddy, the Paris labels. And Daddy, dear, you have to be very gentle with me. Gentle and very sweet and everything. Yes, darling.
I'm coming.
Rosalie. No, never mind for the chicken coop, dearie. Come, darling. Come and stand in. I've got to take them out of the pan here because I take out. Come on. Come, dear. Come, dear.
You coming?
Come, dear.
We are not waiting for Seymour's sister Brady to eat with us?
All right, dear darling. Don't start already with Seymour's sister Bertie, please. Sit, Rosalie, darling. Here, dear. Sit.
All right.
Sit, Jake, please.
I'm waiting for everybody.
Sit, darling. You're my everybody.
Did you hear that, Rosalie?
These pancakes look wonderful, Ma.
So easy, Val. They look wonderful, please.
Come already, Molly.
I'm coming, darling. I'm just filling you out.
Now, you have time to fill me out.
I'm coming this second. I know you like coffee together.
Can I have one for her?
Pass Papa first, Rosalie.
It's all right. Help yourself, Rosalie. That's all you made, Molly.
Jake, darling, I told you I didn't have many pancakes, and as many as I had, so I made. It'll be 3 for you and 2 for each. I'm sorry I didn't have more pancakes. Oh, Seymour?
No invitations, Molly.
Come here, Seymour.
I'll have another pancake, please.
I was down to the post office and I asked for your mail. There wasn't any.
Sit down, Seymour.
Thank you.
Some salt, please.
Just waiting for my sister. She knows I came here to tell you there wasn't any mail.
Oh, where is your sister, Seymour?
She's inquiring about the bus schedule.
Is she going home today?
We're not on speaking terms, so I don't even want to ask her questions.
Well, did you have your lunch, Seymour?
No, I didn't have time. Well, I don't mind skipping lunch.
Eat, Molly.
You want a glass of milk, Seymour?
Your second pancake is getting cold, Molly.
Sit over here, Seymour.
Don't you like pancakes, Seymour?
Oh, I do, very much. I could eat them by the dozen.
Mrs. Goldberg makes them by the pair.
Oh, if there's not enough, I mean...
Oh, telephone. Sit, everybody. Hello? Yes? Yeah, please quiet if you don't mind 1 second till I find out who's on the other end of the wire, please. Hello? Yes? Who? Speak a little louder, please. Who? Oh, yes, Mr. Miner.
From the garage?
Just 1 minute. He wants to talk to you, Drake.
What does he want?
Just 1 minute. Here, Drake, dear.
I only had 2 pancakes,
You'll have
Molly.
3 pancakes. Okay, here.
Hello? Yes, Mr. Miner. What can I do for you? Yes. What do I know about who? Mrs. Schlitzel? Just a minute, please. Who is Mrs. Schlitzel?
Does she mean Mrs. Brady Schlitzel?
Mrs. Brady Schlitzel? Yes.
That's my sister. Did she get hurt?
Reference for what? A trailer?
A trailer?
She wants to buy it from you?
What does she want with a trailer?
Her brother works for me, that's all I know.
Does she want to buy it?
That's up to you, Mr. Miner. Yes, of course the boy's job is secure.
I'm not going to be her security.
All right, Mr. Miner. That's all I know about the woman. And I don't want to be personally involved. Goodbye.
I don't blame you, Mr. Goldberg.
What does your sister want with that trailer, what?
This is news out of the sky to me, too, Mr. Goldberg, I assure you.
My pancake, Molly, please.
What is she buying a trailer for? Brady?
Yes?
Brady, we just got a call.
I know. K.O. From Mr. Miner, huh? He wanted to know who I knew in this town, Mr. Goldberg, so I gave you as reference.
Don't you sit down, Brady?
Brady, what do you want with a trailer?
Pancakes.
Yes, potato pancakes. Here, if you like them, they're yours.
Thank you.
Where's my hat?
Brady, what is this? Mr. Miner tells me you're interested in the old trailer he has for sale.
That's right. I think pancakes good.
What are you going to do with a trailer, Brady?
I'm going to see the world.
What for?
What do you mean, what for, says the world? I want to see it.
You don't even know how to drive.
If you know how to drive a taxi, you know how to drive anything.
Since when do you know how to drive a taxi?
My husband has driven a taxi for 5 years.
So what?
Will you let me eat my pancakes, please?
How are you going to pay for it, Brady?
I'm eating, Seymour, please.
Brady, I can't be your security. I'm only a salaried man.
You can help me with the first payment, Seymour. After that, I'll have 40 weeks to pay.
How will you pay it?
I have an idea.
What idea?
Seymour, please.
What's your idea, Brady?
Seymour, for goodness sakes, I'm eating. When I finish my pancake, I'll tell you.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, your home will be filled with the voices of top entertainers and fascinating experts in the homemaking field tomorrow, when Virginia Graham and Mike Wallace bring you another broadcast of NBC's Weekday. Among the special guests is Rita Gam, Hollywood star and one of Grace Kelly's prospective bridesmaids. And Rita will be joined by a singer whose unique style is well known to his many fans, Johnny Ray. Then from Britain, it's actor Trevor Howard. Meet them all tomorrow when NBC's Weekday brings you another day of fact and fun on this station. Now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1. Tonight, a story by Frederick Pohl, Tunnel Under the World.
On the morning of June 15th, Guy Burkhart woke up screaming. It was more real than any dream he had ever had in his life. He could still hear and feel that sharp, metal-ripping explosion, that searing wave of heat. He sat up.
Mary! Where are you?
Guy, what's wrong? You're trembling.
Where were you?
In the kitchen cooking breakfast. What is it?
I don't know, a dream, I guess. An explosion.
Did you say an explosion?
Yes.
But that's the dream I had.
What?
I dreamed there was a big explosion, and then something sort of hit me on the head.
Holy smokes, maybe there really was some sort of explosion, and it started us dreaming.
Well, there'll be an explosion down at your office if you don't hurry and get to work.
Coming in on the bus, Burkhart watched to see if there was any evidence of an explosion. There wasn't. If anything, the town looked better than ever. The only thing that seemed strange to him was the fact that none of the usual crowd was on the bus. He was a little relieved when his old pal, Henry Swanson, finally got on.
Excuse me.
Henry!
Pardon me, sir?
Henry, what's the matter with you? It's me, Guy Burkhart.
Burkhart? Sorry, I don't believe we've met.
What? Henry, for Pete's sake, it's me.
If you'll excuse me, this is my stop.
Well, I'll be... How do you like that? Guy Burkhart got off in front of the gigantic Contro Chemical Building, took the elevator to the 98th floor where he had worked in the accounting department for 12 years. It wasn't until he was almost at his floor that he realized the speaker was not playing the usual commercials.
Friends, are you happy with your present home freezer? Of course not. Well, the answer to your problems is a Fecco freezer. Fecco freezers are better freezers. Most wives would do anything for a Fecco freezer. Friends, are you happy with your present home freezer?
Morning, Miss Horn.
Good morning, Mr. Burkhart.
Well, new hairdo, I see, huh?
Why, yes. Do you like it?
That makes a lot of difference in your appearance. Mr. Barth in?
No, sir. He had an appointment with Mr. Dorchin of the Human Research Institute.
Today? But today's the 15th of June. He has to sign the quarterly statement.
He said he wouldn't be in.
Huh, that's mighty peculiar.
Yes, sir.
Oh, by the way, Miss Horn, what the devil is a Fecco freezer?
A Fecco freezer?
There's some new copy on the elevator commercial. Dorch must have landed another account. Fecco freezers.
I really don't know, Mr. Burkhart.
Huh. It's a funny day. Can't quite put my finger on it, but there's something strange going on. He couldn't shake the thought out of his mind. It persisted all through the day and through dinner. He was still brooding as he and Mary got ready for bed.
Tired, dear?
Oh, no.
Anything wrong?
I don't know.
Well, I guess I'll get a good night's sleep. Coming?
I think I'll sit up and read for a while.
Well, good night, darling.
Night, dear. At exactly midnight, Guy Burkhart lapsed into a sudden, deep sleep. And the following morning, he woke up, screaming.
Ah! Darling, what is it? What's wrong?
Nothing. Bad dream, I guess.
Oh, you gave me such a shock.
I seem to be having a lot of nightmares lately.
Really?
Yes, the one I had yesterday. This was the same. A big explosion and then nothing.
You had a dream yesterday?
Well, of course I did. You had the same sort of dream.
I? Guy, you're mistaken. I don't remember dreaming.
Oh, now, Mary, you told me.
Guy, you're mistaken.
But, Mary, you...
Maybe you dreamed I had a dream. Maybe...
Oh, yes, I might have done that, I suppose. Everything did seem sort of strange yesterday.
Oh, well, that's probably it. You better get dressed, dear. Today's the 15th. That's when the quarterly statement...
15th?
Yes.
Well, it must have been a dream, because yesterday was the 15th. Guy Burkhart got up, dressed, ate breakfast, and took the usual bus to work. Once again, everything seemed even brighter and newer than usual. And once again he was puzzled when he noticed none of the old crowd on the bus.
Pardon me, please.
Look, don't shove so. Oh, morning, Henry.
Morning. For God's sake, don't talk to me.
What is it? You being followed or something?
Don't you know? I was sure you remembered.
Remembered what?
I can't talk. This is my stuff. Will you excuse me, please?
Well, Henry, for Pete's sake. As in yesterday's dream, Guy Burkhart got off at his stop and took the elevator to the 98th floor. The speaker in the elevator purred a new commercial this time.
Marlin cigarettes. They're sanitized. Does your present cigarette make your throat feel raspy and unpleasant? Marlin cigarettes contain a miraculous new drug which actually gives you the sensation of smooth, creamy smoke. Marlin cigarettes. Marlin cigarettes.
He walked down the marble corridor to his office.
Good morning, Mr. Burkhart.
Good morning, Miss Horn.
Do you like my new hairdo?
Yes. Is Mr. Barth in?
No, sir. He had an
Appointment with Mr. Dorchin at the Research Institute. I know.
You know?
Well, I guessed it anyway. And today is the 15th of June, and he won't be here to sign the quarterly statement, and I'm going nuts. Let me have a cigarette, will you?
Yes, sir. Try one of these. They're Marlins.
I never heard of Marlins before today. What are we, a bunch of guinea pigs?
Something wrong, Mr. Burkhart?
Wrong? Perish the thought, Miss Horn. Perish the thought. He went to his desk and stared at the mail. Before he opened it, he knew that the factory distributor's envelope contained an order for 12 new electronic computers. He knew that the Development Journal contained an article about a new method of transprinting selective brain circuits of human engineers onto the electric brain circuits of robot engineers to facilitate the operation of automatic factories. He knew that there was a complaint from Feinbeck & Sons about the Contro Chemicals' newest household robot circuit. After a long while, he forced himself to open them. They were exactly as he suspected. Hello?
This is Swanson, Henry Swanson.
What is it?
Do you remember?
Remember what?
Just remember.
All right, now listen, Henry, let's stop playing games.
Yesterday, either I was dreaming or you snubbed me on the bus. Today, the same thing happens.
Oh, you do remember, thank heavens. I thought so when I saw you, but I couldn't be sure.
Well, what is it you want?
Listen, tomorrow morning, when I get off the bus, you get off with me. Be casual. They may be watching.
Who may be watching? Swanson! Hello!
You buzzed, Mr. Burkhardt?
Yes, I'm still out of cigarettes. Would you buy me a pack of Kelvins?
Wouldn't you rather have Marlin?
I smoke Kelvins.
But, Mr. Burkhardt, Marlins have that soft, creamy smoke that's so soothing to your throat.
Oh. You really believe that stuff?
Well, it's true. I wouldn't say this, Mr. Burkhardt, except that, well, I've gotten to know you pretty well, and I've grown to admire you so much.
I see.
Would you mind, Mr. Burkhardt, if I told you that for months now I've wanted to, well, just comfort you? I know how troubled you've been.
Well, you've never mentioned your feelings before, Miss Horn.
April. My first name's April.
Oh, that's a pretty name.
You see, I do have your welfare at heart. That's why when I see you smoking Kelvins and I know Marlins are so much better, won't you let me buy some of them for you, huh?
Well, I suppose so. Why not? Here, bring me a carton.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Burkhardt. Guy?
I think you ought to go.
I'll be back.
There was something wrong. Something definitely peculiar about what was happening. The call from Henry Swanson. The strange behavior of his secretary, Miss Horn. These new products, the dream. Guy Burkhardt went home that night feeling like a man in a nightmare.
Is that you, dear?
It's me.
You have a good day?
Fair.
Oh, before you sit down, will you go down in the cellar and put in a new fuse? The switch in the hall closet blew out. I shut it off.
Okay.
Supper will be ready in a minute, so don't start fooling around with that old boat hull you've been building.
I won't. Mary! Mary!
What is it?
Come down here. Hurry up.
What is it?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I was looking for a fuse, and I thought maybe I'd drop one under the boat hull, so I scratched around. Look. Let me put the flashlight on it.
Well?
Look at the floor.
What about the floor?
It's supposed to be cement.
Well?
Well, it's copper. There's a thin layer of cement, but underneath it's metal. Look here. Underneath the concrete, more metal. And here on the wall. You see? Metal. Metal under the floor, behind the walls, every place.
Well, I don't really understand.
Mary, I know this sounds crazy, but somebody, for reasons I can't even begin to guess, has taken this house and replaced it with a clever imitation.
Guy.
Mary, I'm going to look around a little more.
Well, your dinner will be ready.
All right, save it for me. There are a couple of things I've got to figure out.
The following morning, Guy Burkhardt woke up screaming. He dragged himself into the kitchen where his wife Mary was preparing breakfast and discovered it was still June 15th.
Mary, where's the morning paper? Where is it?
It's outside the door, I guess.
Uh-huh. June 15th.
You'd better hurry, dear. Today's the day Mr. Barr fills out the quarterly tax return.
Oh, no, it isn't.
What?
He won't be there. He'll be at a meeting with that crackpot Dorchin at the Human Research Institute.
Mr. Dorchin?
He'll be there. And Miss Horn will have a new hairdo, and the elevator will be selling some new product, and Swanson...
What about Swanson?
Swanson, he said... I wonder if it's going to be the same today, or whether...
Guy, what in the world are you talking about?
Huh? Nothing. Never mind. Where's my coat?
You haven't had any breakfast.
I don't want to miss my bus. I'll see you tonight.
Guy Burkhardt got on his bus. There were the same unfamiliar faces, the same unusually new-looking buildings, the same unusually bright sunshine. And on the customary corner, Henry Swanson, pale and furtive, climbed aboard.
Excuse me, sir.
It's quite all right.
Do you remember the phone call?
Yes.
Oh, thank heaven. Get off at the next corner and follow me.
Where are you going?
There's an excavation for a building about a block down. Make sure you aren't followed. I'll go first. Burkhart. Here, behind the fence.
All right now, Henry, what's this all about?
I'm not sure. At first I thought perhaps they were Russians. Now I'm beginning to think they're Martians. No humans could have accomplished what they've accomplished.
Now, wait a minute. Start from the beginning, Henry. What's going on?
Look, Burkhart, peculiar things have been happening to you, right?
Yes?
A lot of your friends are missing. Your house seems changed.
Yeah. There's something stranger than that. The date. Today is June 15th. Yet I could swear yesterday was June 15th and the day before that.
You got it, friend. It's always June 15th. And you and I are the only ones who know it.
But why, Henry? How?
I'm not sure. I think it's some sort of mass hypnosis or something.
Well, why doesn't it work for us? My wife, Mary, doesn't remember a thing.
Somehow, when it happened, they missed us. We were protected from the full force of the rays or whatever they used. Burkhart, where were you on the night of the 14th, about midnight?
Let me see, that was Sunday night.
Yes.
Yeah, I was down in the cellar under the boat I'm building.
I was in my darkroom developing some pictures.
This just doesn't make any sense to me. Russians, Martians. What makes you think that?
I've seen them.
Where?
At the end of the tunnel.
What tunnel?
The one they built under Tylertown.
A tunnel under Tylertown?
Yes, that's right. It's made out of copper or some alloy.
Copper? Wait a minute. I found a copper layer under my cellar floor last night.
So did I. That's how I discovered it. I found a way to get in, too. It's at the bottom of this excavation.
Holy mackerel. Henry, why don't we tell the police?
Because we can't trust them. Even the police may be Martians in disguise.
Oh, come on now. You're being melodramatic.
Oh, am I? Well, you just come with me.
Where?
Into the tunnel. I'll show you.
Henry Swanson led Guy Burkhart to a small hole in the side of the excavation. There he removed a cut-out piece of metallic substance, and they crawled into a dimly lighted tunnel. They walked for what seemed like 2 miles until Swanson held his finger to his lips.
We've got to be quiet now.
Henry, this is fantastic. They've got a tunnel right under the whole town.
Oh, you haven't seen anything yet. There's a room a little farther down. We'll be able to look through a glass in the door.
Is it safe?
It's perfectly safe, unless one of them comes along. Now, come on.
Okay.
Here. Now, Burkhart, look through this glass. Now, just so I know I'm not completely insane, tell me what you see.
Good Lord.
Well?
A tremendous panel with dozens of telescreens. And in front of each is a servo robot. They seem to be computing something.
Yes, I've watched them. They're evaluating data from the screens.
Have you gotten a chance to look at the data on those screens?
No. I've been afraid to go in. There might be a warning circuit somewhere.
Well, if we knew what those robots were working on, we could go to the authorities.
I'll risk it if you will.
All right, it's worth a chance. We're lost anyway.
Okay. Open the door. So far, so good.
Come on. Let's take a look at that data.
But don't interfere with the robots.
Don't worry. Here, let's look at this screen. Listen to this. Tests in the 47K12 group with Marlin cigarettes pulled 80% using the soft feminine approach. Indications are that an extension of this approach would influence at least 70% nationwide. The direct elevator pitch pulled only 10%. This should be abandoned and a new series of high persuasion personal elements introduced. Henry, do you know what this means?
I haven't the faintest idea.
I don't blame you. This is crazy, but it fits the facts when I think about it. Do you know who's behind this?
Martians?
No, not Martians, Henry. Humans.
What?
Humans who are interested in developing the perfect propaganda machine.
What?
I don't know who they are or how they've done it, but somehow they've taken Tylertown over.
Hypnosis,
drugs, maybe some kind of array or something. However they do it, what happens is that they let us live through a single day. During that day, they pour all kinds of suggestions and propaganda into us. At the end of the day, they evaluate the results, see how we've reacted. And at midnight, they wash the day out of our minds, and the next morning we start the same day over again with different stimuli. Do you know what that means, Henry? Suppose one man learned how to influence people 100%. Why, in a year, he could sell us anything from freezers to political candidates.
Oh, wait a minute.
We're guinea pigs, Henry. This whole community is one big test tube for Dorchin's propaganda research.
Burkhardt, what do we do?
I don't know, but somehow we've got to get out of this town and get to the FBI.
What do you think we can?
It's worth a try. Come on.
Wait.
Huh? What is it?
Look through the door. There's somebody coming down the tunnel.
You've got to hide.
Behind the circuit box. Wait.
Good Lord, it's Dorchin, the head of the Research Institute.
Quiet.
All right, Burkhardt, come out. We know you're in this room. Miss Horn has informed us that you remember. I must warn you that it's useless to buck us. Come out peacefully. Let our maintenance crew adjust you properly so you don't remember from one experiment to the next. It will be quite painless. If you don't come out peacefully, we'll have to get you.
Henry, take this wrench. When I give the word, jump him.
But he may be armed.
Well, we've got nothing to lose.
Very well. I'm coming after you.
Now! Burkhardt, I killed him.
Now, wait. Get his coat unbuttoned. Maybe his heart is still beating.
Henry! What is it? What's wrong?
Look underneath his coat.
Heaven help us.
It's a robot. A humanoid robot designed to look like Dorchin.
Come on, let's get out of here.
Wait.
What's that?
It's a loudspeaker.
I told you it was useless, gentlemen.
Who are you?
Mr. Dorchin, naturally. The real Mr. Dorchin.
What are you trying to do to us?
Merely trying to prevent you from damaging my experiment, gentlemen.
You can't get away with this, Dorchin. Sooner or later, somebody, the FBI or somebody, is going to get wind of this madness.
Really, Burkhardt, you're quite naive. Now, why not be reasonable and let the maintenance crews adjust you?
And if I refuse, I suppose you'll kill me.
That would be quite impossible.
Oh?
You see, Burkhardt, you're already dead.
Dead?
You're shocked. It's quite true. You and everyone else in this town were killed by a premature atomic blast at the Condro chemical plant. The blast occurred at 7 a.m. on June 15th. That is the last thing imprinted on your minds. That is why you wake up screaming each morning.
No, it isn't true.
But it is. What I and my associates did was take the brain circuits from your dead bodies. We stored them in electrochemical batteries till we had a chance to rebuild the cities and begin our tests.
Do you think I believe a fantastic tale like that?
I imagine you find it incredible. Of course, we didn't rebuild everything exactly. After all, it only has to last for a single day, June 15th. At midnight, we turn off the power and wash out the memory of the day. You and your friend Swanson, unfortunately, have defective circuits. You remember.
Burkhardt, it's no use. We're trapped. Give up.
No, not me.
What can we do?
We can make a run for it down the tunnel. Come on.
It's useless, Burkhardt.
Keep going.
It's useless. Useless. Useless.
Now, this door is open. It opens. Oh, no. No, I don't believe it. Swanson, look.
They were standing on a ledge of smooth, finished metal. At their feet, The ledge dropped away into a chasm so deep they could not see the bottom. Beyond was only a glare so bright that their eyes could not stand to look into it. And yet, just at the limit of their vision, something towered. Something so huge it was almost inconceivable. Something.
Burkhardt?
Yes?
This is Dorchin. Now do you understand why it's useless?
The great looming figure moved closer. It seemed to take shape now, and yet it was so gigantic as to be unbelievable. It came closer. The glare was partially blocked. And then, Guy Burkhardt knew that the towering shape was none other than Dorchin himself.
You see how I did it, Burkhardt? I took your brain circuits and had them reduced so they could be transferred to tiny humanoid mannequins. That's what you are, Burkhardt. A tiny miniature of yourself. And this city, this whole experiment I'm conducting, is built on a tabletop.
It was the morning of June 15th, and Guy Burkhardt woke up out of a dream screaming.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features another story by tonight's author, Frederick Pohl. It's the second installment of his novel, Slave Ship. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, an important subject in these days of snow and blizzard is how to fight the common cold. And tomorrow, NBC's Weekday deals with this problem in a special feature by Dr. Leona Baumgartner, New York City Health Commissioner. Yes, it's NBC's Weekday to keep you up to date in every field, from health to housekeeping, from politics to pots and pans. And there's also the best variety entertainment on Weekday, tomorrow, headed by Metropolitan Opera star Robert Merrill. Listen every Monday through Friday to NBC's Weekday. And now stay tuned for X-1.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1. Tonight's story, $1,000 a Plate by Jack McKenty.
Ferry ship from Deimos Space Station carrying cargo and passengers from Earth now arriving in Blasting Pit 6. Radiation clearance and quarantine officers report to passenger conveyor. Mars Airways to New Chicago, Port Kelly, Marsport, Marsport Park, New Amityville, and Nova Massapequa. Take off in 15 minutes. All aboard.
Excuse me, sir. Could you help me?
Sure, buddy. What'll it be? Cards? Dice? A little shot of distilled huckleberry?
No, I just wondered if you could direct me.
Brother, you came to the right man. I can direct you anywhere you want to go. That's what I'm here for. You just get off the ferry?
Yes, I came on the Phobos Queen.
Yeah. You know you can spot him in my business. All right, what'll it be now?
Well, I want to know how I can get to the observatory.
The what?
The Mars Observatory. You know, the Astronomical Research Center.
What do you want to go there for?
I work there, or at least I will.
No kidding. Mm-hmm. You're one of them double-dome stargazers, huh?
Yes, I'm an astronomer.
Yeah, I heard there was a lot of you guys out there under glass, but I don't get out of town much. I got to keep my hand in, you know. Are you sure you wouldn't like a little flutter before you settle down in your rut?
No, I never play cards. Occasionally a little chess.
Uh-huh. I don't know if they got any chess in any of the casinos, but if you want, I could arrange it. You know, play against the house, $5 apiece for the kitty, and a C-note for checkmate.
No, thank you. Can you direct me to the observatory?
Well, you'll have to get a sand hack. None of the regular buses go by there. They just hit the casinos on the strip. Hey, I'll tell you what. The next ferry won't clear for another half hour. I'll walk you over to the hack stand.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you, Mr.
Just call me Pusher. It's on account of my occupation, you know.
Oh, I see. I'm Enright C. Bensinger, Dr. Bensinger.
Well, it's a pleasure, Doc. Right this way.
Well, this isn't exactly what I expected.
Your first trip to Mars, huh?
Yes, it is.
Well, you'll get used to it. Out this way. Adjust your gills.
Gills?
Sure. Well, what do you think you're going to breathe outside that door? There isn't enough oxygen on Mars to keep a mouse alive. They gave you a standard issue when you got off the ferry. It's in that bag.
Oh. Yes, I'm afraid I was reading when they explained it. The quarterly journal from the Harvard Observatory, you know.
Hmm? Oh, yeah. I never miss a copy. Now, look, you put the nose clip in, see, and crack the valve. This way it compresses enough air to keep you going. Okay? All right, let's go.
Cold.
Sure, it's cold. Sand hacks are right up the street there.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All the colors in the sky. I am surprised, though, in an atmosphere this thin, the sunset shouldn't be as spectacular.
That ain't the sunset, Chief. That's the new sign on top of the Canal Casino. Right there behind you, see?
Fun.
Yeah, but if you want a square shake with the dice, you go to Harry Harvey's place, the Red Sands Hotel.
I suppose the seeing is excellent.
You're telling me. You know, he's got a line of girls like you never see nowhere else.
Oh, I'm afraid I meant astronomical seeing. The telescopes, you know.
Hey, you got an idea there. Telescopes.
What's that?
Nothing. Fireworks. It's a Mardi Gras.
So what?
Mardi Gras. You know, big party all over town. Parades, costumes, liquor, fireworks, gambling. You know, big celebration.
Well, what's the occasion?
An eclipse of the two moons.
Oh, but that occurs very frequently.
Oh, sure. You'd be surprised how much a Mardi Gras ups to take on the strip. Well, here are the sand hacks, and look, don't let them hackies charge you more than $15 for the trip. Just tell them you know me. Just tell them Pusher sent you.
Gentlemen, I want you all to meet Dr. Bensinger, our new colleague. These are Drs. Fitz, Spiegel, Ortney, and Klein. I'm sorry to introduce you to our team at such a critical moment, but our situation is rather desperate.
Well, I'm afraid I don't understand.
Spiegel, show Dr. Bensinger your plate.
Here, just look at this. Just look. It took me 8 weeks working with the computer to plot this plate, and look.
Well, it seems fogged. These streaks, I don't believe I've ever seen them on an astronomical photograph before. What are they?
Skyrockets, that's what they are. Skyrockets. Morton, I tell you that they fired them in our direction on purpose.
All right. Calm down, Spiegel.
Calm down? Do you realize that it will be 12 years before this particular conjunction can be photographed again? Morton, you've got to do something.
Couldn't you write a little note to the Chamber of Commerce and ask them to eliminate the fireworks?
We've written a note every time a small boy lets off a Roman candle, and it was no use.
I tell you, they fire them this way on purpose.
I'm afraid that's true. The other directions around town are either oil refineries or homes of the casino owners.
I don't suppose there's any chance of moving the observatory, then, out into the desert.
My dear Dr. Bensinger, we'd have to bring in crews to tear it down, other crews to move it and set it up. not to mention breakage and replacement, which would involve more freight from Earth at $7.97 per pound, dead weight. As it is, the immense costs add up to a staggering total. Do you know what a single photographic plate costs us, counting overhead? $1,000.
Well, then what is the answer? Another letter to the town council, I suppose. Let me write it this time, Dr. Morton. My grandmother used to have several rather picturesque phrases which I believe I could translate.
No, Spiegel. Dignity, remember? We are an adjunct of Harvard University. Dr. Spiegel, I shall ask you and Dr. Benzinger to accompany me in person to the town council. Surely they cannot turn down a rational request in the interest of science.
Well, gentlemen, the town council appreciates the problem.
Yes, I felt certain it would. Naturally, you're aware of the importance of astronomical research, Mr. Harvey.
Well, I can see your point, Doc. You sit out there in your little glass hut, pointing your brownie camera up at the stars, snapping away. But you got to look at our point of view.
Oh?
Now you take my place. Harvey's Red Sands. I got a heavy investment. 14 crap tables, a half a dozen roulette wheels, and the rest of the overhead. I got to keep them wheels running. It's the Marzi Gras that drags the suckers in.
But really, Mr. Harvey, we were just asking you to curtail the pyrotechnic display.
Now, wait just a minute. I'm as clean living as the next guy.
Oh, Dr. Benzinger means the fireworks.
Oh. Well, I'd like to help you out, boys, but I look at it this way. Those stars you're looking at are going to be up there for a couple of thousand years. But a sucker is different. You got to grab him while he's still healthy.
But in the interest of science. Surely the town council can't agree with you.
Doc, the town council is made up of Joe Rocco, Pete Carney, Alex the Armenian, and me. We own the 4 biggest houses in town. So go ahead, fellas. Take all them snapshots you want to. If you happen to lower your telescope, get a couple of good ones through a window of the Grand Canal Hotel. I'll take a couple of 8x10 enlargements. I'll see you around, Doc.
Well, I'm afraid the town council was no help.
They just remain insensible to reason. Well, I'm afraid the only thing those gentlemen understand is money.
My dear Dr. Benzinger, the smallest bet allowed in Mr. Harvey's establishment is approximately the same as your monthly salary.
Oh. Dr. Morton, suppose the gambling operators were suddenly to lose a great deal of money.
They never do.
Of course, with the ordinary layman playing against them. But suppose the best scientific brains were to concentrate on a simple matter like the probabilities of a given roulette wheel, or the combinations and permutations applicable to a game of poker. We could put the main computer on it.
Doctor, are you seriously suggesting...
Well, I think he's got a point. If we could give those casinos a shellacking, they might stop the fireworks just to get rid of us.
Now, let me get this straight, Doc. All you eggheads up there made up a kitty to get into a crap game?
Well, that's right. I thought you might direct me to the largest establishment, Mr. Harvey's place, I believe.
Now, look, Doc, come over here.
Mm-hmm.
No, over here in the corner. Now, look, I'm a pusher. See, my job is to take these tourists by the lapel and shove them in front of a dice table quick, before they spend any of their letters foolishly on food and lodging. But these rubes, they come here expecting to get took. They don't miss it, you understand? It's all part of a good time. But you guys out there running your Harvard peekaboo racket, you're different. Now, what do you want to get mixed up in this for? You take your peanuts home and shove it in a piggy bank. Save up and buy yourself a new telescope or something.
I appreciate your solicitude, Mr. Pusher, but I'm quite determined. Which way is Mr. Harvey's place?
Well, if you've made up your mind, the bus leaves from right over there in about 15 minutes. Get a round-trip ticket, because Mr. Harvey don't want no suckers stuck without they got car fare away from his place.
I shouldn't worry about that. Frankly, I expect to leave Mr. Harvey flat broke. I'll see you just before dawn. I don't understand it. I just don't understand it.
But what happened?
Luckily, a certain Mr. Pusher was generous enough to lend me $15 for a sand hack.
Otherwise, I would have had to walk.
Well, that was rather decent of him.
Well, not exactly. He said he gets a percentage when he pulls in a ripe chump.
You mean it's all gone?
Every dollar. I just can't understand it. I kept careful notes. I followed the formula that was worked out by the computer. I calculated the odds by slide rule, carrying them to the 4th and 5th decimal place. I just can't understand it. Mr. Pusher said that I had a frigid digit.
A what?
A cold finger. I gather that's the opposite of a hot hand.
But according to the games theory as outlined in the last International Congress of Theoretical Mathematics...
Unfortunately, at the last Mathematical Congress, they weren't trying to make a 4 the hard way.
There they go again, skyrockets. I was hoping to get at least 3 plates in before they started.
And the crushing blow occurred when Mr. Pusher offered to sell me my horoscope.
No.
Yes. Oh. He said anyone was a fool to get into a dice game if the stars weren't right.
Now, there's an example of what we're up against. Medieval superstition existing side by side with hydrozyme rockets and nuclear space drives. Shocking!
I'm not so sure. Might be a good idea.
Dr. Morton sent for the staff psychiatrist. Benzinger has scratched his reflector.
No, gentlemen. Pusher was right. Every man who's going to gamble should have a horoscope. It's very important to know what the stars say.
What are you talking about?
And where on Mars is the place best equipped to tell you what the stars say?
Oh, no.
Dr. Benzinger.
Gentlemen, I tell you, it may be a stroke of genius. Hello? Is this the advertising office? This is Dr. Benzinger. I should like to place an ad. No. No, there will be no pretty girl. Just this. Free. For the first time ever, your horoscope scientifically cast by the staff of the famous Mars Observatory. Learn your luck, your future. Write or call Mars Observatory. No charge, no obligation. Yes, thank you. I'd like to run that every day until further notice.
Pusher.
Yeah, Mr. Harvey.
Did you do like I said?
Yes, sir. I went out to the observatory just like you told me. You know, I had to share the sand hack with 5 other guys. I understand the bus company's putting a route out there.
A big crowd, huh?
Sure, Mr. Harvey. You know, them horoscopes they're giving there, the only thing on Mars that don't cost the tourists any money.
All right. What happened?
Well, when I got out there was this Doc Benzinger. You see, all dressed up in a dunce cap with stars on it or something, in a big robe. They showed us all around the place. You never saw telescopes as big as that.
All right. Skip the travel line.
All right. Well, finally, they took my name and my birth date, my collar size, and they run it through this computer. You should have seen that thing. Lights and bells. I'm telling you, it looked like the biggest pinball machine you ever saw. I kept waiting for it to tilt.
The horoscope.
Yeah, well, they give it to me finally. I mean, the first couple of pages is the ordinary bourgeois about the sun and the moon and the stars. But on the 4th page, that's the kicker.
What'd it say?
Well, it said that I'd be real lucky at most of the gambling places, but I'd lose my shirt at... boss, you're not going to like this.
Go ahead.
I'd lose my shirt if I played at Harry Harvey's place.
Pretty shrewd. You know, for a bunch of scientists, they're pretty smart. That isn't going to work. Who in his right mind is going to pay attention to a lot of hooey like that?
Sure, Mr. Harvey. Can I go now?
What's your hurry?
Well, I'm going over to Purple Flamingo to play a little poker. I mean, after all, they say I'll be lucky any place but here. I mean, you can't argue with science.
Gentlemen, I think we're on our way. I checked Mr. Harvey's establishment. You could shoot an elk in the gambling room.
Empty, eh?
There was nobody playing but an elderly masochist who likes to lose.
Dr. Morton, we have a visitor.
Benzinger, I have asked you please to take off that confounded astrologer's hat when you come into my office. It embarrasses me.
Oh, I'm sorry. But, Doctor, allow me to present Mr. Harry Harvey.
Hiya.
How's business, Mr. Harvey?
Yeah. Well, look, gentlemen, let's put our cards on the table. You put a hole in my pocket like I haven't had since I once ran into an honest police lieutenant in Cincinnati.
I presume you've come about our horoscope.
Yeah. Let's shoot or get off the foul line. How much?
I beg your pardon?
How much will it take to lay off?
Mr. Harvey, just a promise.
What?
You're on the town council, Mr. Harvey. Now, the next time the question of tourist entertainment is discussed, we want you to vote against any fireworks display.
Well, sure, that's no problem, but look, I'm only one vote.
Oh, don't worry, Mr. Harvey. Every one of the casino owners on the council will have his turn to be mentioned in the stars.
Yeah? You going to knock us all one by one like a flight of ducks?
Well, that's the general idea.
I got to hand it to you. I got to take off my hat to you.
Mr. Harvey, we're desperate. We cannot afford to let valuable and irreplaceable photographic plates be spoiled by fireworks.
Okay, you win. But listen, here's $5.
$500? But we couldn't take it, Mr. Harvey. I've already explained.
It's not for me. I want you to take a full-page ad and do the purple flamingo in your next horoscope. I'd like to see Joe Rocco's face when he gets a load of it.
All right, Mr. Harvey. We'd be glad to take him next.
Oh, and one more thing before I go. Can I look through the telescope? I never looked through one before.
Well, that's the last of them. The Red Sands, Frank Land's Paradise, the Martian Gardens, the Two Moons Club.
And the Purple Flamingo. Dr. Morton, we've got them all.
There will be a meeting of the town council a week from now, and after that, no more fireworks. All those beautiful stars and nebulae and not a misbegotten skyrocket to stand between us. Oh, it's beautiful.
Gentlemen, I have some news for you.
You have?
I am in receipt of an interplanetary radiogram from our parent organization, the Harvard Observatory.
Are they going to send the new mass spectroscope?
Please. Morton, Earth newspapers carrying accounts of horoscopes published by your organization. Very unscientific. Harvard Board of Overseers aghast. Must stop at once. Find other solution. Signed, L.K. Bell, Director.
Well, I thought Thursday was the regular day for personal message delivery.
It is.
Oh, Mr. Harvey.
I asked Mr. Harvey to wait in the washroom. He brought the message down.
Oh, sure. All of us have contacts in the radio office. We can get a hold of messages a couple of days before they clear.
Did you come down to gloat over our misfortune, Mr. Harvey?
No. You got my promise to help you boys, and I'll stick by you. But the rest of them, well, it's tough, fellas, but business is business. I'm afraid the fireworks will go on as usual.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey.
Look, what would happen if you brought all the boys out here, showed them around, and then you could offer to name a star after them or something? I'd sure like to be able to point in the sky and say, that's Harvey's star.
Well, Mr. Harvey, I'm afraid any stars worth looking at with the naked eye already have names. Besides, Harvard Observatory wouldn't stand for this idea either. It would make as much sense to them as you naming a poker chip after me.
But, Dr. Morton, we've got to think of something.
We tried rigging up a photoelectric cell. It closes the shutter when a rocket goes up, but it cuts the exposure time too much.
But if we can't get these plates, we may not be able to duplicate them for years. Why, right now they're preparing the first trip to a newly discovered planet. And the work of the observatory is necessary to ensure the success of that trip. Now, surely your colleagues will realize that, Mr. Harvey. The future of the human race is at stake.
Doc, the only race those jokers are interested in takes place at Tropical Park.
Look out there. They're starting the fireworks.
All of them heading this way again.
No. It's nothing personal. It's just that if we point them any other way, they're likely to splash people. Or maybe set something on fire.
You mean if the rockets misfired and get the tourists all wet, there would be trouble?
Oh, sure. You couldn't have that. A guy with wet pants ain't going to stand around no crap table for hours.
Mr. Harvey, do you really want to help us?
Well, sure. I promised, didn't
I? Dr. Spiegel, do you think the research library would have any material on pyrotechnics?
Bensinger, what do you have in mind?
Well, Dr. Morton, I was thinking of fighting fire with fireworks. Careful with that match, Harvey.
Oh, don't worry. With the oxygen around here, you need a blowtorch to light a cigarette.
Have you got the rockets ready, Dr. Bensinger?
Well, here they are in the launching racks. I've got all my instruments, compass, a clinometer, an azimuthal radioscope, and a blowtorch.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Spiegel. He's bringing the calculated trajectories from the computer.
Say, I don't know if I like this. What if they miss? Or they go off too soon or something?
Oh, nonsense, Mr. Harvey. You forget. We're scientists.
Here are the figures, Bensinger. We double-checked them on the master computer.
All right, then, let's go. They'll be starting the official fireworks any minute.
Azimuth 360.3570.
Check.
Elevation 49.3740.
Check.
That's corrected for wind, velocity, temperature change, and magnetic eddy currents.
Are you sure you guys know what you're doing with them skyrockets?
Don't worry, Mr. Harvey. They're going to explode in the Grand Canal and get everybody in the Canal Casino all wet. You shouldn't object. After all, it's your competition.
Coming up to 0 hour, Bensinger.
Light the torch.
5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Fire.
There they go.
Oh, interesting effect. The purple color.
Oh, do you like it?
Yes.
That was my idea. Radioactive fluorides.
They're up over the town now.
Hey, one of them's beginning to wobble.
Oh, I can't understand that. The computer was absolutely certain.
It's going over the south of town.
The other one's tracking correctly on the radar. It'll hit the canal square.
Yeah, but look, the purple one. There it goes. It hit.
Looks like it's starting a fire.
Hey, must have hit somebody's house. Hey, you can see it now. It's a house burning.
Oh, dear. There must have been a weak tube in the computer.
Yeah, some guy's going to be real sore. I can see it real clear with the glasses now. That house on top of the hill there by the Geeko bush. Boy, it's burning like...
Mr. Harvey, what's the matter?
That's my house!
Dr. Bensinger, I've called you in to read a letter that I've written to Mr. Harvey. Oh, do you know his address?
I believe he's staying at his gambling establishment. His house was a total loss.
Yes, well, yes. This has been a very difficult letter for me to write.
I believe the letter is academic, Dr. Morton. Mr. Harvey is outside.
Oh, he is?
With 2 very large gentlemen with bulging pockets.
Oh, dear. I don't know what to say. Well, Mr. Harvey, what a surprise.
You 2 apes wait outside. Now, Dr. Morton, about those fireworks. I want you to know I believe in direct action. I don't like fiddling around.
Well, of course not.
Like the time I had some trouble with a bottom dealer from Luna City. I didn't fool around. I sent him back to the moon in a cargo rocket. With no air.
How interesting.
Now, about your problem.
I assure you, we apologize.
Apologize? That's great.
I just remembered I left a few plates in the bar.
I don't go away, Doctor. You're in on this, too.
No, there wouldn't be room. Not for 2 of us.
What are you talking about?
Well, in a cargo rocket, especially without air.
What? I'm trying to tell you. The council voted against fireworks.
No, as a matter of fact, I have a very bad sinus, and no air would definitely... What?
Oh, sure. We decided anything that could burn down an honest citizen's house was too dangerous. Very civic-minded, that council.
But I don't understand.
I kept my promise. I said I'd help you, and I did.
Well, I'm terribly embarrassed. We were trying to get a collection among the staff to help you pay for your loss, but I'm afraid the total assets of the observatory wouldn't reconstruct your garage.
Yeah.
But we held a staff meeting, and we decided on a more permanent kind of remembrance. Mr. Harvey, on this photograph, you see this trail? This bright trail?
Oh, one of them skyrockets again? I'm sorry, Doc. It won't happen again.
No. This is no skyrocket. It's a comet. It will be quite bright for several months. And we've decided to call it Harvey's Comet.
Harvey's Comet? Hey, that's real nice. Harvey's Comet. Hey, Doc, you put me on top of the world. Them boys at the Canal Casino boasting about their new sign. But me, I got a comet. Harvey's Comet. Why, every sucker on Mars will see it every night. It's the best advertisement since they wrote 7 down across the face of the moon.
Well, I'm glad that you're pleased.
Well, as a matter of fact, Doc, I kind of heard about it in advance of one of your boys. You named the comet after me? Okay. I brought something for you. Here.
What is it?
A poker chip from my place. Go ahead, read it.
Harvey's Club. Dr. Morton's poker chip. 5,000.
That's dollars, Doc. Don't spend it all in one place.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was an NBC Radio Network production.
A wealthy and beautiful California woman, Mrs. Patricia Gregory, has spent 14 years searching the world over for her little daughter, Joan Gregory. 14 years ago, Mrs. Gregory, her husband, and baby daughter were shipwrecked in the South Pacific. Everyone on board was believed lost except Mrs. Gregory, but she has always felt that her little girl was also saved. This belief has caused Mrs. Gregory to offer a large reward for news of any young white girl found in the South Sea Islands who might prove to be her daughter. 14 years she has waited in vain, but now the story begins in Los Angeles. It is just 12 o'clock midnight. A police radio car is cruising near Mrs. Gregory's home.
Car 67 at Weston and Slauson a fight. Car 67 at the service station Weston and Slauson a fight. Car 14.
That's us. Let's hear it then.
Calling car 14. Car 14 in North Chester Place near the Adams Street entrance. Investigate a prowler. North Chester Place near Adams. That is all.
Cut him off. We'll have a look around.
We're right in that block now.
Yeah. Slow down. This ought to be it.
I thought I saw somebody on that lawn there. That's the Gregory place, isn't it?
Yeah. There is something moving there. He's up the driveway, right behind him. Where you going, buddy?
Who wants to know?
Hold it right there and I'll show you. Hold it there, kid. I want to talk to you.
Hey, why don't you take that flashlight out of my eye so I can see who you are?
It's a lot more important that I see who you are. What are you doing here this time of night?
Well, suppose you tell me what you're doing here, and then maybe I'll tell... Oh, golly, Whiskers. I didn't see your uniform at first. The cops, huh?
Right, the cops. Now can you remember what you're doing in this driveway?
Well, I might live here.
Ah, you might, but you don't. We got a call on you as a prowler.
A prowler? I'm looking for a lady's house. That's not prowling, is it?
Well, depends on whether the lady wants you to be looking for her. This is Mrs. Gregory's house.
Honest? She's the one I'm looking for. Much obliged. I'll go and see her.
Hey, not so fast, buddy, not so fast. Do you know Mrs. Gregory?
No. But I've got some news for her. I heard about her little girl being lost in the South Seas on a magic island.
Oh.
And I...
So, her little girl's lost on a magic island, eh? And her mama don't know it, but you're going to tell her. Well, I'm Santa Claus, and I'm taking you to the North Pole with me. Come on.
Hey, let go of my arm.
Oh, you're going to the station house. Come on.
No, I'm not. Help! Help!
Oh,
Mrs. Gregory!
Will you shut up?
Somebody help! Hey there, you!
Hey, now you walk him up in the Gregory house.
I hope I woke
somebody's
up the whole
coming.
block.
Take it easy, son. Now take it easy there.
Here, this is no place to stage a fight.
Oh, well, we picked this kid up in your driveway on a prowler call.
I'm not a prowler, honest. I've got to see Mrs. Gregory right away.
Well, it isn't so easy to see Mrs. Gregory at midnight. What's your business here?
The kid's having a pipe dream about Mrs. Gregory's little girl floating around Australia on a magic island. I'll see that he don't bother you anymore. Come on, son.
Wait a minute. Hold it, officer. Did you say Mrs. Gregory's little girl?
You bet he did. But nobody's going to get a chance to laugh at me again. I'll tell my story to Mrs. Gregory, or not at all.
All right, officer. I'll be responsible for this boy. And if he's not what he represents himself to be, I'll send for you again. My name's Bradford. I'm in charge of...
Oh, that's all right, sir. I know you, Captain Bradford. Call us if you want anything else. And let us know how the kid's magic island comes out.
I'm sure glad you came out, sir. He was going to take me to jail.
Well, if your story doesn't sound just right, you'll still get a chance to go. Come on up to the house now. We'll meet Miss Gregory.
I know she'll want to hear my story, but I kind of hate to get her up at this time of night.
Never mind that. Miss Gregory and I were just going out. You go open the door there and go right in.
I'll follow you. Go on in, kid.
But you ought to go in first.
I'll be the judge of what I ought to do. Go on in. Now, straight down the hall to that lighted arch.
What's going on, Tex? I thought I heard... Oh.
Are you Mrs. Gregory?
Yes, I'm Patricia Gregory.
Let's go in and sit down, Pat. I'm anxious to get a good look at this young fellow.
Say, Mrs. Gregory, your butler is mighty suspicious of me.
Butler?
I'm sorry, Tex, but you should see your face.
Butler. What makes you think I'm the butler?
Well, heck, nobody but a butler could act as suspicious of anybody as you do.
You're wrong, young man. Captain Bradford is in charge of my affairs. Manager of my estate, master of my yacht, pilot of my planes, and... But hadn't you better introduce yourself?
Yes, we'll ask a few questions now, son. You sit over there. Keep your hands in sight. Patricia, you stay near me.
Don't be absurd, Tex. What danger could there be? He's only a boy.
Yes, and Billy the Kid was only a boy when he had to put extra long handles on his guns to hold the notches.
Say, I've had about enough of this. I've got something to tell Mrs. Gregory. Do I get to tell her or don't I?
Of course you do. Keep quiet, Tex, and let the boy talk.
Thanks, Mrs. Gregory. Well, my name is Jerry Hall. This afternoon, I picked up a radio message on my shortwave set on a band I'd never heard anything on before. Somebody was talking in funny broken English and said that an old sailor was very sick in a hospital somewhere near Honolulu. I guess he didn't say.
There it is again, the same thing.
Wait, Tex. Go on, Jerry.
Well, I guess this old sailor was so sick, he didn't know what happened to him. He was raving about how he'd escaped from a magic island in the South Seas and about a beautiful little white girl that was living there with some strange people. Well, I read all about your little girl being lost in the shipwreck when she was a baby, and I thought that, well, that is... Gosh, I guess it sounds kind of foolish when I try to tell it.
No, it doesn't, Jerry. It isn't foolish at all. And Captain Bradford and I are leaving tonight within half an hour, sailing on my yacht. And we're going to find out all about that old sailor and his story.
Well, I've been reading all about your little girl ever since I could read. Is it true that you were shipwrecked in the South Seas, just like the stories say?
Yes, Jerry, it's all true. We were wrecked in the South Pacific when my little girl, Joan, was only a year old. Her father was lost, and of course, everyone else thinks my baby was also, but somehow I've never quite given up hope that someday I'd find her.
And we've chased all over the world to see girls that people show to us to try and get some of the money Mrs. Gregory offered. But they never are the right one.
Well, how could you tell your little girl? I mean, if it really was her.
Joan had a tiny birthmark, a little star-shaped scar on the back of her neck.
Joan. Gee, that's a pretty name. Joan. I'll bet she'd be pretty, too. Maybe almost as pretty as you are, Mrs. Gregory.
Thank you. There you are, Tex. Jerry's a bright boy.
Yes, his eyesight's all right, I'll say that. We've got to go. You see, kid, we heard the same thing on the shortwave that you did. And we're sailing just as soon as we can get to the harbor.
Boy, that's slick. Will you take me with you?
Will we do what?
Take me along, will you? Oh, please.
Why, Jerry, we couldn't do that. We hardly know you. And you're so young, you can't be out of high school yet.
Well, I know my dad would let me go. And I know a lot about boats and aeroplanes and radios and all that sort of stuff. And I'd work hard on the yacht and... Oh, golly whiskers. How about it?
Not a chance. Out of the question.
I'm sorry, Jerry, but it just wouldn't do.
Beg your pardon, madam, but the car's at the door. Everything is quite ready. Baggage loaded.
Thank you, Johnson. We'll be out in a moment.
Very good, madam.
Now, Jerry, I'm afraid we'll have to say goodnight to you. It was sweet of you to come and tell us about your radio message. Won't you let me give you...
Oh, no, thanks, Mrs. Gregory. It was fun for me. You see, I've dreamed about finding your... Oh, well, good night. I hope you have a lot of luck.
Thanks,
good night,
Jerry.
Son.
Good night.
Oh, say, I was just thinking, if he could only let me go, I'd telephone my dad. He'd let me go when I tell him how nice you are, Mrs. Gregory.
Oh, Jerry, you're nice about this, and I would like to take you, but it wouldn't do, would it, Tex?
Sorry, kid, but it just isn't in the cards.
Boy, I'd sure like to see that magic island. The broadcast said there was something mysterious about it. How ships tried to sail up to it and couldn't, and that it was big but invisible. He gave the exact position. It might be true.
Afraid not, Jerry. We've sailed through there on 2 steamer lanes. There isn't an island the size of a watermelon that isn't on the chart.
Well, I guess I'd better go now.
I'll see you to the door.
Are you afraid I'm going to take something?
No, but I'm going to take something. Something to remember you by. Open the door. Go ahead. Open it.
Gee whiz. That flashlight nearly blinded me.
Sorry, but we like to take pictures of the people who come to see us at midnight, and we like to know when they open our door, too.
But when I came in, I opened the door myself, and nothing happened.
And I had the flashlight shut off. Now go on, kid. Get out.
I'm sorry I bothered you, sir. Good night.
Tex, why were you so rough about sending him out?
I just got an idea. That boy's smart. He could have broadcast that message himself just to get a trip to the islands with us.
I suppose so, but I do wish we could have taken him.
Well, it might have been wise at that. And I could have kept an eye on him till we ran the story down.
Oh, well, forget it. Hurry, Tex. Johnson's waiting in the car, and Jameson will lock up until we return. To the harbor, Johnson.
And step on it.
Johnson. Oh, Johnson.
Yes, madam.
We're awfully crowded back here. Couldn't you find room up front for this roll of steamer rugs?
I tried to put the roll up here, but he wouldn't have it.
Who wouldn't have what?
The young gentleman inside the rug, sir.
Huh? Say, Pat, there is somebody inside this roll.
And I can guess who it is.
I didn't think you'd find me till we got to the boat, and then maybe you'd take me with you.
I ought to wring your neck.
Now, Tex.
Oh, I know, Patricia, but...
Gee, Mrs. Gregory, that's an awful pretty name, Patricia. Oh, now, look. I'm plenty big enough to go with you, and we'll telephone my dad from the dock, huh?
How about it, Tex?
Nope.
Oh, now, Tex.
No. You got her on Miss Gregory all right, Jerry, but you can't do that to me.
Oh, no, sir. I wouldn't try to get around you. I can see that nobody could do that. You're too smart. But I would like to sail with you. I could learn a lot from a man as smart as you are, Captain Bradford.
All right, you win, kid.
Golly whiskers! To the harbor, Johnson, and step on it.
When Jerry Hall went to find Mrs. Gregory's house at 12 o'clock at night, he sure got himself into a lot of excitement, and possibly some trouble. A police radio car picked him up as a prowler. But finally, Jerry talked himself into the Gregory house and got a chance to tell his story to Mrs. Gregory and Captain Bradford. It's a wild story and one that few people would believe. But Mrs. Gregory and Tex Bradford are adventurers who live in a world where impossible stories come true. We find the three of them now on the afterdeck of Mrs. Gregory's magnificent yacht, the Joan Gregory. The yacht is well out of Los Angeles Harbor, and the lights of San Pedro are fading astern. It is 2 o'clock in the morning.
Golly whiskers. We're really on our way to find the magic island.
Not much magic in a wild goose chase like this.
Now, Tex, let Jerry talk. We've been disappointed on so many of these trips to search for Joan that it's nice to have someone with us whose belief is fresh and strong.
Okay, Patricia. I don't want you to feel too badly if this tip doesn't amount to anything.
But gee, Captain Bradford, there must be something to this. We both got the same radio message.
Yeah, that's what's too good to be true about it, son.
You're the most suspicious fella I ever met.
Never mind, Jerry. The captain has all my interests to look after, and his suspicions are my protection.
All right. I'm on the yacht with you anyway, and we're going to Honolulu, or wherever that message came from, and see the old sailor. Then we'll get all the story and know just where to go in the South Seas to find your little girl.
It all sounds mighty easy the way you tell it, Jerry. There's a lot of water between here and the islands, and 14 years have been torn off the calendar since the shipwreck.
You're right, Tex. And I suppose it's foolish of me to pay too much attention to this message, but I've never believed that Joan perished in that shipwreck, and I just can't give up trying to find her.
I'll help you all I can, Mrs. Gregory. Golly, but this is a swell night, isn't it? Just look back there at the shoreline. All those lights getting smaller and smaller and sort of twinkling, like stars do just before they go out in the morning.
It's beautiful, Jerry. The only thing I like better than sailing out of this harbor is sailing back into it again.
Well, if you two can be spared from the poetry class for a few minutes, we'd better get to the radio cabin. I want Jerry to get acquainted with our set. Then we'll have to turn in. It's after 4 bells.
Oh, boy. 2 o'clock in the morning.
And time you were asleep, Jerry.
Oh.
Let's go in the cabin with Tex and see the radio, then we'll all turn in.
Captain. Here comes the skipper. Pat, you take Jerry in the cabin. I'll check with the skipper and join you in a minute.
Come right in, Jerry. I'll show you around.
Boy, is this a radio cabin or is this a radio cabin?
Everything shipshape, Skipper?
Aye.
We don't know what our course is to be, but for the time being, we're chasing a radio message that probably came from somewhere in the Hawaiian Islands. So just hold the general course on the regular lane until I change it.
Aye.
We've a new hand aboard. He'll help me with the radio. I'll fix it with Sparks, and he can split a watch with you.
Aye.
Better turn in now, Skipper. You can take over after daylight, and I'll join you in the chart room for some skull practice on navigation to imaginary points. We've got to locate a magic island.
Who?
All of us.
Nuts.
Who?
Everybody.
Well, maybe you're right, Skipper. But just the same, that's what we're looking for. Well, see you at breakfast. Will you join us in Mrs. Gregory's cabin?
Aye.
That's all, Skipper. You can shove off.
Aye. Magic Island nuts.
I don't blame the skipper much at that. Well, I see you've got the set warmed up, Jerry. How do you like it?
Gee, Tex. I mean, Captain Bradford, it's a darb.
Darb, huh?
It's all right, Tex. Jerry says darb is the highest praise he can find for anything.
So you think it'll do, kid?
Do? Gosh. I bet it'll get anything in the world. It's all set to go now. Can I try it?
Go ahead. And while you're enjoying yourself, you might as well be working. I'll see that you stand a regular watch here if you can handle that set right. That way I won't have to relieve Sparks and can take it easy.
Why not let Jerry call Johnson and make our report?
What I had in mind. Work on 3 meters, son. As for J12C, that's Johnson, our radio operator and chauffeur in Los Angeles. Sign yourself as Jerry on J24Y. That's this yacht.
You can get this set down to 1.5 meters, can't you?
Yes, and we can work in that wavelength on our Los Angeles set, too, Jerry. That's how we heard the message about the dying old sailor and his magic island with a little white girl on it.
That's where I got it at home, too. Gee, you know, Dad and I thought we had the only set in the country that would work on 1.5 meters.
Yes, we thought we were the only ones. You and your dad must know something about radio to build a set like that one. Funny, too.
Well, no funnier than you having one. You see, my dad has studied radio all his life. He doesn't have to work anymore and just plays with it all the time. We can send on 1.5 meters, too.
Yes, I thought you could.
Why, Tex, what do you mean?
Oh, I know what he means. He thinks I sent that message just to get you to sail for the South Seas so I could get the trip with you.
Well?
Oh, Jerry, you wouldn't do a thing like that, would you? Knowing how much it means to me, how badly hurt I'd be if we made this trip and didn't find any trace of the little white girl.
I wouldn't do that for anything in the world, Mrs. Gregory.
Okay, son, we'll let it go. For now.
To the Gregory
Gee whiz.
There he is again.
What's the matter, kid?
1.5 meters.
To the Gregory Land Station, Los Angeles. To J12C, Los Angeles.
Now he's...
Quiet.
Calling J12C. Relay this message to Yacht Joan Gregory. Stand by for message. Cannot raise yacht. Relay this to them.
He doesn't know we can get him on the yacht.
Quiet. To the Gregory Yacht. You will not find the old sailor in Hawaiian Islands. Set your course south. Further directions later. Old sailor delirious. Probably dying. Keeps repeating position of island. Says his diary will tell you white girl living there. Island position. Latitude 29 degrees south. Longitude 124 degrees 30 minutes west. That is all. Repeat to Gregory Yacht. Repeat to Gregory Yacht.
Gee, the same thing.
Tex, the position was the same as given before, and the old sailor keeps saying there's a little white girl on the island.
Yes, yes.
What are you doing, Tex?
Checking my directional beam finders. We've got to know where those messages are coming from.
There's something wrong with them, all right, or they'd be signed. Why would anybody send a message without signing it, if they were honest?
Maybe they haven't got a licensed station.
Yes, here we are. He wasn't on long enough for me to get a very long curve on the graph for calibration. But one thing is sure. That message did not come from the west, north, or east.
Then it had to come from the south.
Yes, recording directional receiver shows only direct impulses. And the only place it was disturbed by those beams was through about a 60-degree angle to the south.
That's awfully broad, Tex. If the sender is any distance from us, that angle could spread out to cover thousands of miles of ocean.
I know it. But it's 10 to 1 that Johnson got it, too. We can check with him later. You and Jerry stick with this set to pick that fellow up if he comes on again. I'm going to change our course. We're heading south right away.
Oh, Jerry, I'm so excited and encouraged about it all.
Me, too. Gosh, even Captain Bradford seems to be taking it plenty seriously now.
That's what makes me so happy. Tex has been through a lot of these things with me. He doesn't believe wild stories very easily. So when he gets excited, it looks as if we had a chance to accomplish something.
I've got a hunch we're going to find your little girl Joan all right. But what kind of people could she have been living with? I mean on this island, that wouldn't let the world know all about it before this.
There are so many things that might have happened, Jerry. But if we really do find a little white girl on this island, and it is Joan, I won't care about anything else.
Well, when you have time, and if you want to, Mrs. Gregory, I wish you'd tell me the whole story of the shipwreck. I mean, just where it happened and how you were saved when everyone else was drowned. And what made you think your little baby was saved?
Of course I will, Jerry, and I'll start right now. We'd been in a terrific storm for days. The yacht we had then was very much like this one, except that it was named after me, the Patricia Gregory.
Oh, and this one is named for your little girl, the Joan Gregory, isn't it?
Yes. Well, we were making dangerously heavy weather of it, along the 30th parallel, when all at once...
Say, wait a minute. The 30th parallel. This radio message. The 29 degrees south. That's near the 30th parallel, all right.
Why, Jerry, so it is. I didn't think of it just that way before. There's only about 69 miles between the parallels at that latitude.
How about the longitude? This message said 124 degrees and 30 minutes west.
That would be about right, too.
J12C to J24Y. J12C to J24Y.
Is that Johnson?
Yes, Jerry, acknowledge him.
Hello, J12C. Jerry Hall for Captain Bradford on J24Y. Go ahead, J12. Go ahead.
Never heard of you, Hall. We'll talk only to Bradford.
Can you beat that? That guy drove us to the boat, but he never heard of me.
I'll explain it to him, Jerry. Let me have the microphone. Hello, Johnson. Hello, J12C. Patricia Gregory to Johnson. Jerry Hall is okay. He's the boy we brought with us. Tex is out on deck. Jerry authorized to do relief watch on this set. Confirm receive that.
Okay, Mrs. Gregory. Okay, work with Jerry Hall on J24Y. Better get Captain Bradford in cabin for this message. Have important relay for you.
That's what we heard direct, I'll bet.
Oh, here's Tex now. Tex, Johnson's calling. Wants you to take over for this relay.
Okay, J12. Bradford, go ahead, Johnson.
Relay of message just received. Logged it on 1.5 meters. More about the old sailor and his island. Position repeated, correct as given before.
Break, J12. Break it, Johnson. Okay, J12. We got it direct. Now check your directional graph. Get me the best line you can on it. I'll hold the set open.
Checking graph now. We'll report when finished.
Now we'll have something definite to go on when we want to set our course.
Good old Johnson is always on the job. And his instruments are really better than these portable ones.
Maybe so, but, well, I don't understand how we can localize that radio beam better than you can right here.
He can't, but he has a chart exactly like this one, in front of him at this minute. And when he gives me his reading, I log the line of it right here. Then extend the line I have from our reading, and the point where those lines cross should be a pretty accurate location for the radio transmitter we're receiving those messages from.
Beam falls in Zone 1-8. Zone 18 south. 18 south.
Zone 18 south. Okay, Johnson. Stand by.
Now, can you get at your figures pretty close to it?
If we were farther from Johnson, the angle would be better, but Tex should hit it fairly well.
By George, there it is. And those lines cross almost on the 30th parallel.
Golly whiskers. 30 degrees south. And the message said the Magic Island was 29 degrees south.
Nobody said anything about a Magic Island.
Oh, Tex, let Jerry call it anything he wants to. If we can only find it and my little girl is still alive.
Don't say if, Mrs. Gregory. We're going to find your little girl, Joan, on a Magic Island.
Roger in the 25th century. And the shower of silver dollars from Popsicle Pete's Money Box. Buck Rogers in the 25th century, with its prophecy of all the wonderful things that may occur 500 years from now. Do you ever give any really serious thought to the scientific and mechanical developments of the future? Well, just keep listening to Buck Rogers and you'll have a pretty good idea of many of the things that are within the realm of scientific possibility. Now, our story so far has taken Buck and Wilma and Dr. Hewer to the city of Ore, deep, deep under the earth, a city abounding in pure gold and radium. As they join our friends now, we find them all ready to start back to the surface, to report their amazing discovery to the government at Niagara, capital of 25th century America. Now, here we go, 500 years into the future.
Well, folks, how about getting started on the trip home?
Right, Wilma. The sooner we get started, the better. Come on, Dr. Hewer. Let's pile into the mechanical mold.
No, wait, Buck. Gareth is bringing samples of gold and radium to take back with us.
Yes, Doctor. I don't know what's detaining him. Incidentally, my friend.
Yes, now, but...
This mechanical mold is a very wonderful machine. Just how does it burrow its way through the ground, Dr. Hewer?
Now, but the giant heat ray in the nose melts away the ground, and the force rays along the sides push it ahead.
Very ingenious.
Hey, look at the hundreds of people gathered at the other end of this great cavern.
Why, yes.
Evidently working like Trojans over something or other.
Well, you're right. Too far away, though, to see what they're doing.
Look, here comes our friend Gareth, apparently alarmed about something.
Well, I hope nothing's wrong.
No, but don't let our friends leave us.
Something is wrong.
Gareth, what is it?
Lieutenant Wilma, Dr. Hewer.
What's the trouble?
Please, kind people, stay and help us. Norbert, to the supply source.
Supply source?
What is it, Gareth?
A terrible catastrophe has occurred.
What?
Our entire city may be swept away unless you can help us.
What?
The warning came to me while I was obtaining samples of our gold and radium for you to take back with you.
Warning of what, Gareth?
It is something we have feared for a long time. And although we tried to make adequate provisions against the day it might occur, I fear for the safety of my people.
Well, now, wait a minute.
See them there at the end of the cavern. They're struggling against forces the power of which they cannot comprehend. The life of every one of them is in danger, but still they try to hold it back.
Oh, hold what back, Gareth?
The water, Doctor.
Water?
Unless the source of our limitless water supply can be stopped up, the entire city of Ore will be flooded.
Oh, why didn't you say so? Here, hop into this mechanical mold. We'll go over and see what it's all about.
But can you help us? Can you keep the angry waters from filling up this great cavern in which we live?
Well, that remains to be seen, Gareth.
Right. Get into the mole now.
No.
Huh?
You'll be protected from the flood in this wonderful machine of yours. I can't be. I mustn't leave my people.
Gareth.
Don't you see, Buck?
Gareth.
Yes?
Now, you're all excited. Calm down and get in here so I can close the metal door.
But don't you see...
Quickly. If we're going to be of help to you, we can't waste time.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's better. Here now.
Sit right here in this control seat.
On the way over, you can tell us what's caused this unexpected trouble.
Here we go.
Oh, I hope we can get there in time to save our city.
Well, now tell us all you can about it, so we'll know what needs to be done when we get there.
Yes, Dr. Hewer. You must pardon me for being so upset, but news of the impending calamity has shaken me beyond words.
Yes, well...
Our water supply comes by seepage through a wall of porous rock, there at the end of the cavern.
Yes.
Any excess was always taken care of by simply allowing it to run down into the ant country through the tunnel system you followed to come here.
But now?
Now, however, the outlet tunnel has become stopped up. The water is no longer draining away.
You know why, don't you? When we followed those tunnels, we used the heat ray on this mold. And then the melted ground settled back and solidified and blocked the tunnels after we passed through.
Oh, why did you do that, Buck? Why did you block up the only outlet for the water that can so easily fill up this entire cavern?
Oh, we didn't know it was part of your drainage system, Gareth.
No, of course we didn't. I'm very sorry. But now look ahead.
Yes?
How ineffectually my poor people are attempting to block up the source of the flood.
Now, Gareth, well, I'm surprised at you.
Why do you say that, Doctor?
Why, there isn't much water seeping through that rock formation. Well, why all this excitement?
It's so much more than usual.
And the channels that carry the water down the streets and into your reservoirs, they're far from overflowing.
But they will overflow, and we can't afford to let the water collect in this cavern.
Well, what's the matter, Buck?
Yeah, the mist around here is clouding up the outside of our metallic glass window.
Yes, Buck. That in itself illustrates the grave danger we're in.
Well, how do you mean?
Well, unless the water is permitted to run freely away and down into the ground, the heat that permeates our atmosphere turns it into a heavy mist.
Yeah?
Soon the air will become saturated with moisture. It will disable our atomic power plants and render our radium lighting system useless.
Oh,
worst of all, it will reach our chemical supplies and liberate deadly gases.
Oh.
Helpless and in total darkness, we'll be able to do nothing but wait for the poison to completely fill our city.
But that would take days, Gareth. Weeks, perhaps. Why so excited and scared about it all of a sudden?
It is the one thing against which we have never been able to provide adequate protection.
Oh, I see.
Oh, but please, while we talk, the atmosphere becomes heavier and heavier with the dreadful moisture. The effort of my people to stop the water seepage becomes more and more fruitless. Don't you see? Even now, some of them falter and drop down where they're standing.
I can't see very well because of the wetness on these metallic Sheriff.
Yes, Buck.
Can it be the poison gas you mentioned that is making those people drop in their tracks out there?
Yes, Buck. Please do something to help them.
Yes, we'll have to immediately.
What can we do?
Open the door and let me out again. If my people suffer, I must suffer with them.
No. What?
What are you going to do, Buck?
Turn on the non-recoil energy projector and aim it straight at the water rock.
Wait, then.
Yes, sir?
There'll be people in the way. If you turn on the non-recoil energy, you'll crush them against those rocks.
Well, Gareth can warn them to get out of the way.
Yes.
Or better still, I can use just a little of the non-recoil energy and push them out of harm's way.
We'll do both. Gareth, you go out there and tell them to get away from that rock formation.
If they're still able to do so. Do you see? Most of them have fallen.
Phew, I should think they would.
Poison gas is right.
And we thought there was no need to hurry.
I'm going to warn my people.
But the gas will get you, too, Gareth.
No matter. If my people fall like...
Gareth, come back.
Close the door, Doctor, quick.
Oh.
Yes,
No, don't do it, Doctor.
What?
If you don't, that gas will get us, too.
But,
It's the only way I can see to aim this non-recoil energy projector. This window's too clouded up.
but Buck.
Here it goes.
That's it. But are you sure you're aiming it straight at the rock formation?
Yes, sir. It clears its own path through the mist.
And can't you close the doors again? This gas is terrible.
Yeah, we can now. Now, Wilma,
Yes, Buck?
get into a pressure suit quickly.
Precious, you what for?
I want you to hold back the water seepage with a hand-sized force ray while we take this mechanical mold to the other side of the cavern. We'll blast away an outlet tunnel.
Okay, Buck.
Hurry now.
Okay. Thank goodness the air is getting better in here with the door closed.
It's getting worse for the folks out there. Funny about that gas, though.
Here, Wilma. Let me help you put on the helmet of that pressure suit.
Thanks. And I'll snap the clamps of it inside and turn on the midget radio equipment so we can talk.
Here it goes now, right over your head. Doc, will you turn on the radio so we can communicate with her?
Sure, Doctor. There you are.
Hear me now, Wilma?
Yes, Doctor. I'm going on out.
Here, Wilma. Don't forget this hand force ray.
Thanks, Buck.
Go ahead now, Wilma.
Right.
And stay there until we get back. Yes.
Okay, Buck.
Gas is awful.
Yeah, I hope we can clear the atmosphere before it's too late for some of those people out there.
I've got my force ray on out here.
Good, Wilma. I can turn off the one here on the mold.
No, Buck.
Huh?
No, turn it up high and steer us to the other end of this cavern.
Right, sir. We're on our way.
Use all the power you can. We mustn't waste any time.
Yes, sir. Managing to hold back that water all right, Wilma?
Yes, Buck. Terrible to see all these people lying around out here.
We're doing all we can to save them.
So hurry.
Can you see your way ahead all right, Buck?
Not very well, but well enough to get us to the other end of this huge cavern.
Now turn on a bit of the thermic radiation projector to clear the metalloglass window.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's it. Now, more power. Every minute it takes to get over there lets the gas in this place get thicker.
Going as fast as we can. Say, you know something, Doctor?
What, Doctor?
That gas has something very funny about it.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I feel utterly to see anything funny about a gas that can do what this has done to the people of Ore. I only hope that whatever it is won't be fatal to all of them.
No, it's like something I've smelled before. Something familiar about it. I don't know what it is, but I can't seem to be as worried about it as I should be.
Buck,
Yes, Wilma?
this gas may be poisonous, as Gareth said. But to me, these people out here look just to be quietly asleep.
Well, keep that force ray holding the water back until we blast out some drainage tunnels. Then we'll ride back and pick you up.
Okay.
You hear that, Doctor?
Yes.
Complicates matters.
What do you mean?
Well, I smelled that gas before. Maybe a long, long time ago, but somewhere.
Now, listen, Buck. This is
I know you
time.
think I'm crazy, sir, but there's something about it that just...
Stop us. We're at the end of the cavern.
Yes, sir. Now, about that gas.
How can you prattle on that way when the lives of hundreds of people are at stake? Now, here's where we blast out a tunnel.
Right, sir. We can use a disintegrator.
Yes, quickly.
Right, sir.
Hurry, Buck, hurry.
Buck, Doctor,
Yes, Wilma?
I guess I didn't clamp on my helmet right.
What?
Gas is seeping into this pressure suit.
Wilma.
I'm going to
Wilma.
keel over.
Wilma!
Good night. Now Wilma's life is in peril. They can't go back to her until they've cleared a tunnel that may save hundreds. And yet, if they don't go back to her, well, now stand by and listen to a few words from your favorite announcer before we pick up our story again.
Presenting the adventures of Flash Gordon and Jungle Jim. Last week, after Queen Azura had declared Flash Gordon to be king of Blue Magic Land, she and Flash, Dale, and Zarkov started for her palace to make the formal proclamation. In the meantime, news was brought to Tall that Queen Azura was alive, having been saved by Flash Gordon. Tall swore he would kill her. As he started to meet Azura, pistol in hand, he was killed by the Black Lancer who brought the news. After Flash was proclaimed king, he and Dale and Zarkov built a spaceship and started to survey the kingdom. Suddenly the ship began to fall. Zarkov calculated they were heading straight for the Earth, but he didn't have any idea just where they would land. These thrilling adventures of Flash Gordon and Jungle Jim are pictured each Sunday in the Big Comic Weekly, the world's greatest pictorial supplement of humor and adventure. The Comic Weekly, each page printed in full colors, is distributed everywhere as an integral part of your Hearst Sunday newspaper. The spaceship containing Dr. Zarkov, Flash, and Dale is falling away from the planet Mongo towards the Earth. But let's leave them for a moment. Come now with us to an island in the South Seas, down among the jungles of Malaysia. Two figures standing among the waving palms. One is a tall young white man dressed in khaki with a tropical sun helmet and a cartridge belt, an automatic .45 slung from his waist. He is Jungle Jim, beloved friend of all good men, no matter what their race or color may be. He stands wiping his perspiring brow as he talks to a powerful-looking native who is dressed only in a loincloth and a red turban.
Well, Cole, we're free again.
Yes, Master Jim. Bad white man almost killed us off for sure. We lucky be alive.
I'll say we are. I've been in some tough spots since I came down here in these jungles. But that encounter with that black snake Romney beats them all.
No good thing to be buried in ground to neck for ants to eat.
You said it, Kolu. Burying us up to our necks and pouring molasses over our heads to attract the ants was one dirty trick. It's a darn good thing that native boy saved us and gave us these guns.
Yes, Master Jim. Bad white man no hurt us anymore.
No, Kolu.
What we do now, Master Jim?
We'd better be getting back to our own camp.
No have boat, Master Jim.
Well, let's look around. Romney must have a canoe someplace around here. Search that brushwood, Kolu. I'll look in these ponds.
Yes, Master. Kolu, look, see.
Of course, if we can't find the canoe, we'll have to hike it. Find anything, Kolu?
No sea boat here.
Try over that way more, Kolu, near the river.
Yes, Master. Kolu, look, see.
I'm sure he must have hidden one around here. No sign of it, Kolu?
No sea, Master Jim.
I can't find any trace of it here either. I guess it must be... Kolu!
Huh?
I found it. Come quick. Here's Romney's canoe.
Coming, Master.
And he even left paddles in it.
Good you find boat, Master. Better for us leave this place right now.
You're right, Kolu. Here, grab hold of one end. And that's it. Now heave. We'll carry it to the river. All right, Kolu. Let go. Get in the bow. That's right. I'll shove us off. You help with the paddle. Yeah. Now we're off. And goodbye to this place.
All quiet here. No Tuan around here.
No. It doesn't look like there's anybody around here, Kolu.
No Tuan bother us now, Master Jim.
That's right. Nobody will bother us for a while. Paddle a little harder, Kolu. I'm going around the bend. What's that?
Wild cat, Master.
Kolu! Look! A white man near the shore. The wildcat has come off from his camp.
White Tuan see us, Master.
Help! Help! We're coming! Don't move! Whatever you do, don't move! Paddle!
Travel! Travel, Cole, travel!
Hold it steady, Cole. I'll get a beat on the pack.
Good shot. I say, how can I ever thank you?
Pulling ashore, Cole. Don't try. Glad I happened along.
Let me give you a hand.
Oh, thanks. You were in a tight spot, sir.
Yeah. Bless my soul, I should say I was. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Chalmers, the Reverend Manley Chalmers.
Pleased to meet you, Reverend Chalmers. I'm called Jungle Jim in these parts, and this is Colu.
Delighted to know you both, I'm sure. Come and meet my wife. We pitched camp up there for the night. We're on our way to our new mission.
Mission? You work for one big fella master on top in the sky?
Yes, my friend. I am engaged in the work of God. But where did you learn of him? From Mr. Jim here?
Yes, Tuan. Also from other mission Tuan. Hear all about when die. Go on top along. Good fella master.
Colu was a good boy, Reverend.
I'm sure he is. By the way, have you had your dinner?
Well, no.
Then you must come and have some with us. I've just come down to the river for some water when that wildcat sprang out from the bush and cornered me. I'll get the water now.
Leslie? Leslie! What happened?
Quite all right, my dear. No cause for alarm. This young man just shot a cat.
Oh, I was so frightened when I heard the shot. I was afraid you'd run into bandits.
Mary, my dear, allow me to present Uncle Jim.
Oh, how do you do?
Pleased to meet you, ma'am.
And this is Colu.
Colu?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank goodness it wasn't anything more serious than the shooting of a cat.
Yes, my dear. I've invited Jungle Jim to have dinner with us.
Why, of course. It has come right on up to camp.
Oh, thanks, ma'am. Colu.
Yes, master.
Pull the canoe well up on shore.
Yes, Master Jim.
Lonely bit of a place to have darkness overtake you, isn't it?
Yes, Reverend. But Colu and I know our way around here pretty much. You're a stranger hereabouts.
Yes.
That makes the difference.
All the difference between being safe and being attacked by heaven knows what.
I've my motorboat moored in that little cove around there. And Mrs. Chalmers feels better sleeping on the land, so whenever night is coming on, we stop and pitch camp.
Are you a trader, young man?
No, not exactly, ma'am. I came down here originally to capture wild animals and train them for circus.
Oh?
And then the first thing I knew, I was getting into one adventure after another.
I see your point. You're an adventurer.
Well, in a manner of speaking, but not the way you mean, sir. I try to right wrongs, not make them.
Yes, of course. There are adventurers and adventurers, my dear chap.
Well, for instance, there was a man named Dirk Romney who called himself Hawk Bruder.
Was? Is he dead?
Yes, he's dead. He died very suddenly. Well, as I was saying, this Hawk Bruder was chief of a band of river pirates. He was the black sheep of a good English family.
Oh.
You may have heard of his brother, Craig Romney, Reverend.
Craig Romney? Yes, indeed. Well-known explorer. Died someplace down here, I believe.
Yes, I buried him.
Indeed.
He was murdered by his brother Dirk.
Oh.
And his wife and baby were kidnapped by the pirates.
Oh, terrible.
They held me up as I was starting out in my canoe. I was unable to rescue the woman because they threatened to throw her and the baby overboard unless I surrendered.
What?
At that time, I had no idea who she was.
How did you find out?
As the big war canoe came near me, I saw the young woman put the baby's nursing bottle into the water. After they left, I got it and found a note inside telling me her name.
I say, but how did you find her husband?
I figured it out. The woman's clothes were crisp and fresh-looking, so her camp couldn't have been far away.
Very clever.
I noticed the direction from which the war canoe came, went that way, and soon found the Romney camp.
And the young woman's husband was dead?
Yes, ma'am. And so were his two assistants.
Oh, my.
Well, I buried them and raised two wooden crosses over the graves to mark the spot. I'll show you where they are, Reverend. Your people back in England may be interested.
Indeed they will. Thank you. I'll see that the bodies are taken back home.
But how did you know the brother had committed the crimes, young man?
Well, ma'am, I found Craig Romney's diary in which he said there was only one man in the world he feared, his brother.
By Jove, why, this is like a mystery story, isn't it, Mary?
Yes, indeed.
How did you locate the missing brother?
By accident. That night, as I slept by my campfire, the diary was stolen from my kit bag. In the morning, I saw imprints of bare feet in the sand. I followed and came upon a sprawled body.
Of the other Romney?
No, it was a native. With his dying hand, he managed to scrawl in the sand the statement that he had stolen the book from Hawk Bruder. And Bruder, when he got it, shot him down.
Oh.
Well, I figured that book was only of vital interest to one man.
To Craig Romney's brother?
Exactly. I trailed this Hawk Bruder, but got captured by him.
But how did you escape?
The brother of a native Bruder killed in cold blood saved us and brought us revolvers. When he took us to where Bruder was, Bruder made a move to shoot me, but my hand was quicker than his.
Yes, we understand.
Oh, thanks, Reverend. Well, Kolo and I were starting back...
What's that? Jim. What is it, Kolo? Master, come quick. Something fall out from sky. Big silver bird without wings.
What does he mean?
I don't know, ma'am. What are you talking about, Kolo?
Come quick, Master Jim. Kolo show you where big silver bird lands with big noise.
Kolo must have seen what caused that crash a moment ago. Show us, Kolo. Quickly now.
It sounds like an airplane, but I didn't hear its engine.
Look over there, in bushes.
Why, what can it be?
Bless my soul, I never saw such an odd machine.
It's some kind of airplane. There must be somebody in it. Come along, Reverend.
Certainly, I'm right with you. But, where could it have come from?
Well, that's what we'll find out in a minute. If anyone's left alive to tell us. Hurry, Cole.
Yes, sir.
Hurry, Reverend.
I see, it is some kind of an airship.
And there are 3 people in it. Let's get them out. Stand back, sir. I'll break the window with my revolver butt.
Whatever sort of costumes are they wearing? I never saw anything like them.
Oh, never mind that. Let's get them out. The girl first.
Right.
She's still breathing. Now, easy now. Easy. Come on now. Lay her down here while we pull the other 2 out. Come on, Polo. Give me a hand.
Oh, a girl. A girl. Is she hurt?
Yes, attend to her, Mary. There are 2 others that we must look after.
Easy, Polo. Easy now. That's it. That's it now. Look, this one's coming too. It'll be all right in a minute. Get the other fellow, Polo. Yes.
Dale. Flash. Where are you?
They speak English. Well, who can they be?
This fellow, Master. He opening eyes.
Dale. Are you all right? Take it easy, old man. Everybody's all right. But you've had a nasty crack-up. Who are you?
I'm Flash Gordon. Where's my fiancée, Dale Arden? My wife is attending to her. She'll be all right soon.
Who are you? Where are we?
I'm Jungle Jim. And this is the Reverend and Mrs. Chalmers. Yes, sir. My boy Kolo saw you crash and brought us here. You're in the Malay jungle. Where are you from?
Mongo.
Mongo?
The girl is asking for someone by the name of Flash.
Dale. Darling, I'm here. Are you all right?
Yes. Are you all right? Where are we?
We're back on the earth, dear. Somewhere in the jungle.
Flash. Dale.
Yes, Doctor. We're safe among friends.
Thank God.
Amen.
Where is this place called Mongo?
Don't ask me. Ask Dr. Zarkov there.
It is a newly discovered planet. We landed there in a rocket ship and were marooned.
Zarkov? Are you the famous Dr. Zarkov who was lost about 2 years ago?
Yes. Somebody still remembers me.
Remembers you, of course. What a sensation when the news gets out. Imagine you're returning.
I'm sorry, but I don't know what this is all about.
Well, it's a most fascinating mystery which will no doubt now be cleared up.
Yes, that's right. It's a long story, but right now we'd like some food and some sleep.
And some decent clothes.
And you shall have all 3. My camp is right over there.
Thank you. Are you able to walk, Dale?
Yes. My head aches. But I'll be all right soon.
We are lucky to escape without serious injuries. Or worse.
You are indeed.
Where were you going, Gordon?
Well, that doesn't matter now. But since we're here, we're going to get back to the good old USA as soon as we can.
Well, after you've recovered from your crash, we'll see about getting you to the mainland somehow. You can get a boat from there.
Thanks. You see, Dale and I want to be married as soon as possible. That's why we're in such a hurry to get back to civilization.
I see. Well, of course, that's sort of out of my department, but maybe the Reverend here can fix you up, Gordon.
Oh, will you, Reverend?
Yes. Will you, sir?
Well, that is something that can't be decided in a hurry, my young friend. Suppose you come back to my camp and we'll talk it over.
Be sure to be with us next week at the same time for the next episode of Flash and Jungle Jim. It looks very much like a wedding is to brighten the age-old silence and mystery of the jungle, and of course you don't want to miss that. By the way, how about your poster stamps? Are you cutting them out of the Comic Weekly every Sunday? Well, be sure to get your Comic Weekly next Sunday with your Hearst Sunday newspaper, where you will find another half page of these colored poster stamps drawn by real artists, specially for you. And then next week at the same time, be our guest at a real jungle wedding, which will feature the next chapter in the adventures of Flash and Jungle Jim.
Super Delicious Cereal presents
The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman!
Yes, it's Superman. And today, having triumphed over his greatest adversary, the Atom Man, he tells Inspector Henderson of a danger that still exists. We'll join him in a moment. But right now, let's hear from Dan McCullough.
You know, Eddie's mother was kidding him the other day about the comic buttons he's wearing pinned on the back of his jacket. You know, the swell new buttons you're all collecting now from packages of Kellogg's Pet. Well, Eddie's mother said that she didn't know whether it looks more like an art gallery or a rogues gallery because those pictures of favorite comic strip characters are mighty good looking. Real bright colors and clear, sharp outlines. But, some of the pictures are kind of tough looking. Take K.O., for instance, with his oversized derby hat and his brilliant red sweat jersey. Or Moon Mullins, he's a real comic. Big black cigar and all. Well, anyway, isn't it swell fun collecting these slick comic buttons and swapping duplicates with your friends and looking forward to getting a brand new button every time Mom opens a new package of Kellogg's Pet? That's the only way you can get them, you know. You can't buy these new comic buttons, and you don't send in any money, not even a box top. All you do is to make sure Mom gets you a good supply of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal. In every package, there's your exclusive prize, one of these dazzling new comic buttons or a military insignia or warplane button. Get your prize from P.E.P. Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, the adventures of Superman.
During his titanic battle with Henry Miller, the Nazi Atom Man, Superman carried the human monster high into the heavens. Forgetting his own safety and his maniacal desire to destroy his hated foe, Miller attacked the Man of Steel with his deadly atomic power. Superman lost consciousness, and the two mighty opponents fell through space to the banks of the Metropolis Canal, where police and soldiers were on guard against Miller's threat to wipe out the city that night. The fall killed the Atom Man instantly. But when Superman revived a few moments later, he amazed Police Inspector Henderson and General Niles of the Army by stating, "Yes, gentlemen, a terrible threat still remains. To me, to you, and to the entire world."
What do you mean? The Atom Man is dead.
I know, Inspector. But two small pieces of kryptonite are still in existence.
What? Kryptonite? What's that?
That, General Niles, is the deadliest, most radioactive element on Earth. More powerful than uranium. Dissolved and injected into Henry Miller's veins, it gave him his atomic power. And the last two pieces of the original fragment, all there is in the world, are now in the hands of dangerous criminals.
I see what you mean. You think they might create another Atom Man.
That's exactly what I think, General. Or they may be able to create something even more terrible.
What could be more terrible than a living atomic monster? Nothing. Look, Superman, how can there be two more pieces of kryptonite? There was only one piece in the first place. The original fragment that fell to Earth about a year ago.
That's right, Inspector. But when the Scarlet Widow stole the fragment from the Metropolis Museum, she cut it up into 4 pieces. She knew it had the power to rob me of my strength, and she intended to sell the 4 pieces to my enemies for $1 million each.
Who is the Scarlet Widow? She's called the most dangerous woman in the world, and she's well named. Go on, Superman. What happened to the 4 pieces?
Der Teufel, the Nazi scientist who made Henry Miller an Atom Man, got the first one. He told Miller about the Scarlet Widow. So when Miller exhausted his atomic power on me in our first fight, he sent Sidney, his henchman, to the widow to get more kryptonite. Sidney bought 1 piece, and the widow told him she had sold the other 2 pieces.
Sold them? To whom?
Well, Sidney said she wouldn't tell him. But we've got to find the Scarlet Widow, Inspector, and make her tell us.
That's easier said than done. There's been a 48-state alarm out for her ever since she stole the kryptonite from the museum. We haven't been able to find a trace of her.
Sidney knew where she was.
Sure. But he's dead.
He may have left some records.
Well, my boys ransacked his country house and his city apartment today, right after Clark Kent was found in his garage.
Nothing showed up?
Not a thing. But we're digging into his past now, trying to run down his connections. Well, I'll go back to headquarters now that this Atom Man scare is over and get to work on the case myself.
You won't mind if I look over Sidney's house and apartment, will you?
Of course not. But you won't find anything.
I'd like to have a try, anyhow.
Help yourself.
Thanks, Inspector. I'll be going then. Goodbye, General Niles. Glad to have met you.
Goodbye, Superman, and thanks again for what you did tonight. That goes for me, too.
Don't thank me. My own life was at stake. And until the last 2 pieces of kryptonite are recovered and destroyed, I'll be in danger. I'll be seeing you, Inspector. Up! Up! And away! Leaping from the bank of the canal, Superman streaks through the night skies to Sidney's country place. For hours he searches the empty house, and then the secret cellar under the garage where he had been so close to death. He examines every inch of the floors, the walls, the ceilings. The sun has long since risen when at last he gives up and streaks back to Metropolis. Resuming the guise and garb of Clark Kent, he phones Jimmy Olsen, and a short time later, the boy reporter joins him in the late Sydney's handsome apartment overlooking the park.
We worried about you, Mr. Kent. Where were you all night?
Taking care of the Atom Man, of course. And then... Help me go through this desk, Jim.
Well, what do you mean taking care of the Atom Man?
Just what I said. Why, the Atom Man story, of course. His fight with Superman.
But you didn't cover that story.
Well, who says I didn't?
Well, I do. We got the story from Inspector Henderson when he released it to all the papers.
Well, how do you like that? I had a terrific scoop, and I forgot to phone it in.
What? You had a scoop on the biggest story of all time, and you forgot to turn it in.
That's right. A fine reporter I am.
Oh, I can't believe it.
That's true, though. I guess I was pretty groggy. All I could think of was that there were still 2 pieces of kryptonite that had to be recovered.
Oh, boy, Mr. White better not hear about this. Why, he'll boil you in oil. He'll fire you.
All right, never mind that. What we've got to do is make sure there'll never be another Atom Man or something even worse. Keep looking, Jim.
All right.
There's nothing in this drawer except the usual bills, club notices, and so on.
Oh, you don't expect to find the pieces of kryptonite here, do you?
Oh, no, of course not. We've got to find out about the Scarlet Widow, who knows where they are. Sidney had contact with her. Judging by that, and from other things I heard him tell Miller in the garage, he had powerful connections. If we can trace some of his connections, we may be able to find the widow.
Oh. Why, that guy Sidney sure fooled me.
Yeah, Sidney was very clever.
You said it.
Well, nothing in this desk.
Hey, maybe there's something behind one of the pictures, huh? I heard a story on the radio.
There isn't anything behind the pictures.
Did you look?
Yes.
Oh. Well, what about the furniture? There might be something inside the lining.
No, there isn't.
How do you know?
Well, Sidney was too smart to leave anything incriminating in the furniture. That's one of the first places the police look.
Oh, they listen to the radio whodunits too, huh?
You try that crack on Inspector Henderson sometime. Come on, we'll take a look at the bedroom.
Okay. Gosh, Mr. Kent, I was feeling so good about the Atom Man being finished, but now I'm just as scared as I was before.
So am I. Okay, you take the dresser, Jim. I'll go through this chest of drawers.
Okay. Say, don't you think maybe we ought to put an ad or something in the Daily Planet?
Huh?
To let Superman know there's still a couple of pieces of kryptonite around?
Oh.
He might think now that the Atom Man is done for that he's safe.
No, he knows everything I do.
How does he? Oh, you mean you saw him last night?
Huh? I guess you could say that, yeah.
What do you mean you guess?
Well, I was with him.
Oh. Gee, this Sidney was some dude. Everything silk. Shirts, socks, pajamas. Holy cow, even his underwear.
Uh-huh.
All with fancy monograms, too. And... Hey, what's this?
What?
This. Look, Mr. Kent, look at this.
Eagerly, Jimmy holds out a small, strange object. What is it? Has the boy reporter found a clue to the Scarlet Widow? We'll return in a moment to find out. But first, here again is your announcer.
Say, did you ever stop to think, gang, how many of your favorite comic strips are represented in this new series of comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pets? Well, there's Superman, of course, that's one. Then there's a character or two from Moon Mullins, that's two. Then Smitty and Harold Keene, Orphan Annie, Gasoline Alley, and Winnie Winkle, the breadwinner. Why, they're all old favorite friends, looking just as real as they do in the funny papers. They'll hand you a lot of chuckles, sure. And talk about fun. Why, I can't think of a better hobby than working on your collection of comic buttons, trading duplicates with your friends to add a new button to your collection, and wearing them all pinned on your jacket or dress or cap. You see, these comic buttons are so doggone smart-looking, you're mighty proud to wear them. Done up in bright comic strip colors on a sturdy white enameled button, just about as big around as a shiny new nickel. And are they easy to get? You don't send in any money, not even a box top. You just ask Mom to get you some of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Then see which prize you find inside. One of these slick new comic buttons or a military insignia or warplane button. It's an exclusive prize for you from P.E.P. Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now back to the adventures of Superman.
As Clark Kent and Jimmy Olsen were searching the dead Sidney's apartment for some clue to the Scarlet Widow, Jimmy made a strange discovery in a dresser drawer. He is now holding out a small, round metal object about the size of a quarter.
It was in the bottom of the drawer under his pajamas. Yeah? First I thought it was a coin or a medal or something, but...
I see it, Jim.
There you are. It's all smooth, see? Except for a little design on one side.
Uh-huh.
What do you suppose it is?
Don't know. It's an odd design, just a little arc. No, wait a minute. There's a tiny star over one end of the arc. You know, I suppose this might represent a crescent moon and a star.
Oh, what could that mean?
I don't know, Jim.
Maybe some secret society, huh?
Yes, that could be. Sidney belonged to several clubs and societies, apparently carrying out his pose as a successful businessman.
Oh, I guess it's not important.
No, probably not. Wait a minute, though. I saw this same symbol just recently.
Well, you did? Where?
Oh, I'm trying to remember. It was a strange place. Oh, wait a minute, I know. In Sidney's country house.
Oh, so what? If it's the symbol of some club or society he belonged
I saw it at the bottom of an empty sheet of notepaper. The paper was folded and in an envelope addressed to Sidney.
Empty paper in an addressed envelope?
Yes. I thought I could see faint evidence that the paper had been written on, probably with ink that fades after a certain time. I dropped it off at the police headquarters crime laboratory.
And this crescent and star design was on the paper?
That's right. It had been pressed on as if with a ring or a seal. It was pretty faint, but I could make it out.
Oh, well, golly, if somebody sent Sidney a letter written with disappearing ink and this symbol was on it, maybe it is important.
Yes, that's what occurred to me. Now, let's see. Oh, here we are.
Huh? What?
The phone.
Who are you going to call?
Harry Goldman at the Planet. He's a bug on symbols of all kinds. Makes a hobby of it. If anyone will know what the... Uh-oh.
What's the matter?
Phone's dead. Look, Jim, you run...
Uh-huh.
No. I better talk to Harry. I noticed a public phone downstairs in the lobby. I'll run down and call him. You go through the rest of those drawers. See if you find anything else, will you?
Sure, okay.
You don't have to worry about anything. There's an officer on duty in the hall.
Oh, I'm not worried.
Be right up.
Well, let's see. Didn't look through this drawer yet. More papers mixed in here with his collars. They look like bills, but... Well, I guess I better check them.
As Clark Kent leaves the apartment, Jimmy bends over the dresser drawer. He fails to hear the slight, almost imperceptible sound of the window being slowly raised in the adjoining bathroom. A moment later, behind Jimmy's back, a swarthy-skinned, wiry man wearing soft sandals bound with thongs slips from the bathroom and advances toward Jimmy, moving as sinuously and silently as a stalking cat. Only a few paces from the unsuspecting boy reporter, he pauses. He draws a long, gleaming knife from under his jacket. Grasping the bone handle, he raises it and advances again, his thick, pale lips curling back over stained, yellowish teeth. One pace more. Another pace, and he is almost ready to strike. Fellows and girls, don't miss tomorrow's exciting episode as the story takes a strange new twist. Tune in, same time, same station, and follow the adventures of Superman. Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman. Brought to you every day, Monday through Friday. Same time, same station, by the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. And for other thrilling adventures of Superman, see your local newspaper. Superman is also a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC publications. Give a hip, hip hooray, gang. It's back. For you and me, now there's Kellogg's famous variety. That's the swell variety carton with 10 separate generous packages of Kellogg's cereal, including Kellogg's Pep, Rice Krispies, shredded wheat, Corn Flakes, Crumbles, and Bran Flakes. Yes, each box in Kellogg's variety holds a fresh, crisp heaping portion. Just help yourself to your favorite kind. Makes breakfast a picnic of fun, so ask Mom to get Kellogg's variety right away. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting... Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman. And today, as we begin a new adventure for the Man of Steel, Jimmy Olsen is in grave danger. We'll join the young reporter in a moment. But right now, here's a word from your announcer.
Say, I know you fellows and girls follow the adventures of your friends in the comic strips pretty regularly. And nowadays, those comic strip characters are even more real and true to life because you're collecting those new comic buttons that come in packages of Kellogg's Pep.
You see, first off, you get a close-up view of your favorites like Winnie Winkle and Smiling Jack and Superman, of course. Done up in full, bright colors, too, on gleaming white enamel, so they really show off. Then, you have the fun of collecting all 18 different buttons in the series and wearing them pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap. And the fun of trading duplicates with your pals. Boy, it's mighty exciting. And it's the sort of fun that lasts a long time. You're always proud of your collection, and you're always looking forward to getting a new button whenever Mom opens a new package of pep. That's the only way you can get these swell buttons, you know. You can't buy them anywhere, and you don't send in any money. Don't have to spend any of your allowance. Why, you don't even have to send in a box top. But inside every package of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep, there's an exciting prize. One of these nifty new comic buttons or a military insignia or warplane button. Tell Mom you'll eat lots of P-E-P. Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, the adventures of Superman.
Although the Atom Man is no more, Superman is still in great danger because two pieces of kryptonite, the amazing element which robs him of his strength and which gave the Atom Man his deadly power, are in the hands of unknown enemies. In his guise of Clark Kent, Superman and Jimmy Olsen searched the apartment of the now-dead mysterious fat man known as Sidney, who had been the Atom Man's ally. When Jimmy found a strange metal coin bearing an odd symbol, Kent remembered something he had seen in Sidney's country house and left the apartment to make a phone call. A few moments later, a swarthy, dark-skinned man entered the apartment from the fire escape. Drawing a long knife, he slipped noiselessly up behind Jimmy, who was searching a dresser in the bedroom. As we continue now, a faint sound has caused Jimmy to raise his head. The mirror reflects the man behind him, and shouting wildly, the boy reporter leaps sidewise as the knife plunges into the dresser top.
Hey, what?
Be quiet.
Get away from me. Help, Mr. Kent.
Amdullah, I kill you.
No, let go. Help, Mr. Kent.
Now you will die.
Struggling frantically, Jimmy tries in vain to free himself from his assailant, whose long brown fingers tighten slowly, inexorably around his throat. Meanwhile, descending the stairs to the phone in the building lobby, Clark Kent, who is Superman, hears Jimmy's cries, and his X-ray vision pierces the floors and walls above him.
Great Scott, no time to change clothes now. Back up to that apartment. Up!
Burst of wind, a swift blur up 3 flights of stairs, and Kent is at the door of the same apartment, wrenching it open.
No.
C1, die.
Let him go.
I fix you too.
Now, Mr. Kent, he's got a knife.
A knife won't help him.
Yes, I kill you.
You're not killing anyone, my friend. Oh, you won't be good, eh? All right. In that case, I'll just have to calm you down, eh? Like this. Oh.
I had shock in him, Mr. Kent.
Are you all right, Jim?
I guess so.
You sure? Take it easy now. Here, wait a minute. I'll help you up. Come on. Boy.
Oh, boy. Got here just in time.
Oh, thank heaven I did. Where did this fella come from?
I don't know. I was looking through this dresser when I heard something. There he was behind me with a knife.
He must have come in through the bathroom window. There's a fire escape outside it.
What's going on in here?
Who's that?
That's the police officer who was supposed to be guarding this apartment.
Oh, it's you, Mr. Kent. Mother of mercy, where'd you come from?
Why,
I see you going down the stairs. The next thing I know, something blows past me, and then here you are.
Yes, well,
who's this creature laying on the floor?
That's what we want to know. He tried to murder me.
He did now.
Yeah, and where were you? I thought you were supposed to be watching this place.
Steady, never mind that, Jim.
Wait, I knew you and Mr. Kent was in here, so I went to the window at the end of the hall for a bit of a smoke. Well, now, let's have a look at him. Strange-looking one he is.
I think he's an Asiatic.
He's an Arab.
An Arab, did you say?
Yeah, he said Hamdullah. Arabs say that. We heard them in the Sahara Desert last summer. Remember, Mr. Kent?
Yes. Wonder what he was doing here and why he attacked you.
Likely one of them sneak thieves.
Oh, no, hardly. Sneak thieves don't go out of their way to murder people.
They'll do anything if they need money bad.
Well, he didn't need money.
Huh?
Now, why would you be saying that, Mr. Kent? You can see how dirty and poor he is.
He's dirty, all right, but he isn't poor. He has several $1,000s in his pocket.
What?
Is that so now? Well, let's see. Faith in your eyes.
Jeepers, look at that roll of bills. Well, how did you know he had all that money, Mr. Kent?
Oh, I happened to notice the roll sticking out of his pocket.
2. No, 3 $1,000 bills. And all these hundreds. It's enough to choke a horse. Now, this is queer.
With all this money in his pocket, why would he be breaking in here?
Well, he might have come here to get something other than money. Or to keep us from getting it.
Huh?
But what would... Oh, you mean something to do with Sidney and the Atom Man?
Yeah. I don't know what it could be, though. We've gone through the apartment thoroughly and... Wait, maybe...
Maybe what?
Oh, just a minute, he's coming too. Better put the bracelets on him, officer.
That is just what I was about to do. There, that'll hold you, me lad.
His eyes are opening. Boy, does he look mean.
He does that. Now then, you. What were you after doing here?
I say nothing.
None of that now. What's your name?
I say nothing.
Speak up. What were you doing here? Why'd you try to knife this young fella?
I say nothing.
Well, we'll see about that. Up on your feet. Come on. You'll sing a different tune when I get you down to the station. I'll phone with the wagon.
The phone's been disconnected, officer.
Oh, it has?
Mm-hmm.
All right, then. We'll make the call from the lobby. Mr. Kent, young man, I'll be asking you to come along.
Sure, okay.
Just a moment, please, officer. I'd like to show this man something. Did you ever see this before? No. Are you sure?
What is that funny-looking coin?
Well, I found it in Sidney's dresser. It's got a crescent and star on it. Say, maybe that's what he was after, Mr. Kent.
Why would he be risking his neck for such as that?
Well, I'm not sure why, or even if he did, but... You don't know what this is, eh?
I not know.
I'll bet he's lying. I'll bet
Let's not jump to conclusions, Jim. I want to know more about this man, and I think Inspector Henderson can find out.
Then that's where him and me will be going now. Straight to headquarters. Come along now, and come quietly, or I'll be remembering you tried to put a knife in the lad's back and threw back at you.
Okay, come on, Jim. Let's go with him and see what this is all about.
Followed by Kent and Jimmy, the policeman leads the sullen, ragged Arab from Sidney's apartment. A short time later, Kent and Jimmy are in the office of Inspector Henderson at Metropolis Police Headquarters.
One of my detectives was born in Cairo, Kent. He knows Arabs and he knows their language. He's working on your man now.
Good. Say, by the way, Inspector, I left a blank piece of notepaper at your crime laboratory early this morning. It had the imprint of a crescent and star at the bottom.
You mean the paper you found at Sidney's country house?
Yes, that's right. Have you had a report on it?
Yeah, just a few minutes ago. You were right, Kent. The paper had been written on with disappearing ink.
Was the laboratory able to get anything out of it?
No. But it's strange. The imprint of the crescent and the star you found on the paper, and then you're finding this coin with the same symbol in Sidney's apartment.
Well, do you know what the symbol means, Inspector?
No, I don't, Olson. And nobody in the department does either. I sent it over to the FBI. They may be able to come up with something.
I hope so. We've got to learn more about Sidney, about his connections. He knew how to contact the Scarlet Widow, and we must find the widow and discover what she did with the last 2 pieces of kryptonite.
Yeah, and we better do it fast, before somebody uses the kryptonite to create another Atom Man.
Well, we're doing all we can. We haven't been able to trace the widow, and we haven't been able to dig up a thing about Sidney's secret connections either. This fellow was certainly a slick character if I ever saw one.
Well, I've got a hunch that this Arab can tell us something about Sidney. If we can only make him talk.
If he knows anything, we'll get it out of him, Kent. You can depend on... Excuse me. Yeah? Oh, yes, Greenwich. How about the Arab? What? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh. Oh, all right. I'll be right down. Bad news, Kent. The Arab is dead.
Huh?
Yes. Committed suicide.
But how?
Well, he had some poison hidden under a loose crown in one of his teeth, and he swallowed it while he was being searched. I went down to the cell block with him. This way, we can cut through the finding room.
Startled, Clark, Kent, and Jimmy Olsen hurry after Inspector Henderson, unaware that a much greater surprise awaits them in the cell block. We'll return in a moment for the exciting climax of today's episode. But first, here again is your announcer.
You know, I had a nice letter the other day from one of the girls in the gang who's collecting those new comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep. She writes about a club all the fellows and girls in her neighborhood belong to. Used to be just an ordinary sort of social club, but nowadays it's turned into a pep comic button club because, well, the fellows and girls spend a lot of meeting time comparing notes on their collections of comic buttons and trading duplicates with each other. Well, I think that's pretty swell, don't you? Because it's no end of fun collecting these nifty new comic buttons. And they're so doggone smart looking. All 18 of these favorite comic strip characters are printed in bright red and black and blue on a clear white background. So they really show up.
And the buttons are made of sturdy metal, about as big around as a nickel. Looks swell, pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap. What's more, these comic buttons are so easy to get. You don't send in any money, not even a box stop. Why, you can't even buy them anywhere. All you do is to make sure Mom keeps you supplied with plenty of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Inside every package, there's a swell prize. One of these exciting new comic buttons, or a military insignia, or warplane button. Remember, it's P-E-P, Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, back to the adventures of Superman.
Hopeful that the Arab who had attacked Jimmy Olsen could give them some valuable information about the mysterious Sidney, Clark Kent, Jimmy, and Inspector Henderson were shocked when they learned that the man had committed suicide. As we continue now, they are in the cell where the swarthy Arab, his body covered with a sheet, is stretched out on a bunk.
Now, don't feel too bad, Kent. He may not have been able to help us a bit. He might have been just another second-story man who broke in, got scared when he saw Jim, and tried to finish.
Sure. I don't think so, Inspector. He had almost $5,000 on him. You say he has no police record?
No, not with us. But we may find he has one in another city. And as for his having all that money, well, I'll admit it is unusual, but it certainly doesn't prove he had anything to do with Sidney.
No, I suppose not, but... Wait a minute. What's this?
Huh?
What, Kent?
Look. Look here, both of you.
Oh, look at what?
His bare feet sticking out from under the sheet. Look at the right heel.
Great Jupiter. He's been branded.
With a crescent and a star. The same symbol that was on the coin I found in Sidney's apartment.
Their eyes wide, Inspector Henderson and Jimmy Olsen stare at the tiny brand on the dead Arab's heel. What does this mean? Has Clark Kent discovered a clue which will lead him to the devious secrets of the mysterious Sidney, and so to the Scarlet Widow and the Kryptonite? There's excitement and mystery ahead, so don't miss tomorrow's action-packed episode when Superman, knowing that every minute counts, decides to take a desperate chance. Tune in, same time, same station, and thrill to the adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman. Brought to you every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, by the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. Superman is also a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC publications. Say there, gang, have you heard? Kellogg's Variety is back. That's the grand 10-package assortment of 6 famous Kellogg cereals that makes breakfast so much fun. It's like eating in a restaurant where you can choose from a whole list of your favorite cereals, each one in your own private package. And Mom's sure to be glad Kellogg's Variety is back. Show her how you can eat right out of the swell new Kell Bowl pack. She'll like not having to wash dishes. So ask her to hurry and get Kellogg's Variety right away. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, transcribed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You're trapped in a dark, empty house. A girl lying dead at your feet. And surrounding you, closing in on you, are a band of killers, deadly enemies of your country and yourself. And they are intent on murdering you.
Today, with Barry Kroger starred as David, we escape to England and the story of a man whose life depended upon the outcome of his mission, as Graham Greene told it in his fascinating story, Confidential Agent.
It was getting dark as the ship threaded its way through the tugs into Dover Harbor. The thick fog gave way reluctantly to the ship. It swirled over the deck. There was a cold bite to it, chilling me inside and out. Yet in a way, this cold English fog was more comforting than the atmosphere I had left. For in my country, there was war. Already Austria had fallen before the goose-stepping armies of a madman, and now my country was fighting with its back to the wall. In order to continue the fight, we needed industrial diamonds to shape the tools of war. That's why I was now landing in England. There were others in my country, a group headed by a man known only as the Baron, who wanted to turn our country over to the invader, who would do anything to stop us from getting the diamonds we needed. So you see, my mission was a secret one. Not even our own embassy knew of it. So far, the trip had been uneventful, except for meeting the girl. Her name was Rose Cullen. At first, she seemed too curious, asking questions about my trip, my visit, my friends. And I wondered if she were working with the Baron. But as time wore on, I decided I'd been mistaken, and I accepted her offer to drive me to London. 20 minutes after we had docked, we were through the customs and walking towards the car park. Rose suddenly asked me to excuse her for a moment. Almost before I could answer her, she had vanished in the fog.
Good evening, David.
Baron.
I've been expecting you.
We have nothing to talk about, Baron.
I think we could find a subject. Diamonds, for example. Or perhaps I could interest you in accepting, let us say, 2,000 pounds for our point of view. Say 2,000 pounds.
I still say we have nothing to talk about.
An honest man. It's a very dangerous hobby, David.
Honesty?
You may remember an old saying in our country. The honest man and the thief both pay the same price, to death. Goodbye, David.
He raised his hand in an open-palmed salute and walked away, the fog quickly swirling up to hide him. There was a shot aimed at me. I jumped back against the wall. There was nothing to see but fog. Gray wisps of fog blanketing out everything. There was no way of telling from where death had tried to strike, or from where it might strike again. I heard her returning. Had she left me to give them their chance? Or had it been her finger, manicured and perfumed, that had curled around the trigger?
Sorry to be so long, David. Are you ready?
Yes. I was talking to your friend, the Baron.
The Baron? Oh, you must be mistaken. I don't know a Baron. Come along. Did he say he knew me?
No. Perhaps I am mistaken.
Of course, it might be someone I met at father's. He loves to surround himself with titles.
Oh, who is your father?
Oh, here we are. Will you drive? I'm simply at sort.
All right.
My father? Oh, he's Lord Bendage. Didn't you know?
Lord Bendage? But I thought your name is Cullen.
Of course. My father's name was Edward Cullen. After his first £1 million, he became Edward, Lord Bendage. It's really quite simple.
I came here to do business with Lord Bendage. Isn't that a coincidence?
Everybody I meet has business with him.
I see.
I can't think of anything more dull than father's business. What are you thinking?
How, in my country, I would go along a country road like this very slowly, ready to jump into a ditch if I heard a plane. I'm not sure the war has not followed me here.
Oh, don't be silly. The only war here is between the Prime Minister who talks about peace in our time and Mr. Churchill, who talks just as long about the glory that was Britain. And nobody believes in anything.
You're very cynical for such a pretty girl.
What is there for me to believe in? My father's died. Hardly something to get passionate about.
You have no young man?
Oh, plenty. If I want to know who scored 60 runs in the Lancing-Brighton cricket match, or the odds at Epsom Downs. But there's no excitement.
If it's excitement you want, perhaps we still will get it. One of my countrymen tried to kill me just before you joined me.
Oh, really?
It's true. He or his men will certainly try again before I reach your father.
Oh, don't be so melodramatic. Things like that don't happen except in thrillers. Unless, of course, you're a spy. Are you?
No.
No, I'm more of a confidential agent.
What's the matter?
What's that ahead of us?
Oh, it's just a lorry.
Why is he blocking the road?
He stalled, probably.
I'm sorry you were mixed up in this road.
It's only someone out of...
Hold on, we're going on.
There's a split in the window shield. Oh, someone is trying to kill you.
Yes.
Oh, we must go to the police.
With what? We saw no one we could identify.
Oh, but we struck one of them. I felt the car hit him. Couldn't they be traced by him?
All it would prove is that I ran him down. In fact, they might use that to have me arrested.
Oh, no.
If the Baron fails to kill me, and I think I can see to that, then it would serve him almost as much to have me arrested for murder. It was late at night when we reached London. Rose wanted to drive me to my destination, but I refused. It wasn't entirely distrust, but a fear that she might lead them to me without realizing it. So she dropped me off in the West End. When she'd driven on, I stopped the taxi, gave the driver the address. He brought me to an old two-story house, its dirty gray front bearing witness to the poverty of the neighborhood.
Here you are, Governor.
This is number 10, Malone End?
That's right, Governor. Just over there. You up across the road and you'll be at the door.
How can you be so sure, driver? It's so foggy here, I can't see the number.
I counted them. Counted the houses from the corner of High Street.
I see.
That's number 10, all right.
All right.
That will be 3 and 6pence, sir.
Oh, yes, of course. Here you are.
Oh, thanks very much, Governor.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. I stepped closer and peered through the fog that blanketed the buildings. Only here and there a feeble gleam of light trickling through. I stood there for a moment, looking at it. There was no light visible in any of the windows, and I wondered, fear pressing in with the fog, if something had happened to our agent. I kept my hand near my gun as I pressed the button beside the door. If something had happened to our agent, this might be a trap. The door opened a few inches, and a pinched, elfin face, neither old nor young, looked out at me.
What do you want this time of night?
I'm sorry, but I'm David.
David?
D, as in diamonds.
Oh, come in. Just a minute. I'll turn on the lights. You're much younger than I thought you'd be.
We are using them younger these days.
I was just making a spot of tea. Perhaps you'd like some.
Oh, yes, I would. Very much, thank you.
You see, I've been very careful with lights since I saw someone watching the house 2 days ago.
One of the Baron's men, you think?
I don't know. I just thought it better not to take chances.
Oh, good girl. The Baron came over on the same boat with me.
Oh? Did he see you?
Oh, yes. Thank you.
It's all right.
We even had a short talk at the customs.
You... What did he say?
He offered me money for a vacation.
How much?
2,000 pounds.
You refused?
Of course.
2,000 pounds.
Oh, this day is good. After being out in the fog, it's warm.
It's more money than I've ever seen in my life. How do I know you refused?
I suppose that's a question I would ask, too, were I in your place.
You know, I wonder if that isn't the Baron's biggest crime against us. That he's made us eternally suspicious of each other.
Yes, But what is your name?
Elsie.
Elsie. Well, Elsie, you don't know that I didn't take the 2,000 pounds. But I am going to see Lord Benditch tomorrow, and maybe that will prove it.
And then you'll be going back?
Monday, yes.
Oh, I see.
Now, what do you have for me?
Oh, not very much. You see, I know that the Baron has friends everywhere, even in the English government. But Lord Benditch will deal with you first if you are there on time and can prove you represent your government.
If I did not show up, then he'd be free to deal with the Baron.
Yes, that's it exactly. Now, look, if you're seeing Benditch and his syndicate tomorrow,
yes,
then I must warn you again.
The shot came through the window. I leaped to the wall, turned off the light. A nurse found her wrist. There was no pulse. Elsie was dead. Kneeling there, I cursed myself. The minute she told me that someone had been watching the house, I should have known that both of us had to get out. I should have known there was no time for tea and talk. Suddenly, there was a sound. The door. The killer or killers were in the house. To stay there in that dark, small room, try to shoot it out with them, could have only one ending. They were blocking off the front door. I couldn't leave through a window. I'd be a perfect target that way. I began to edge toward the other door in the back. It was slow work. Then, I was in what seemed to be a kitchen. A gloomy patch of light guided me to the door. I pressed my face to the glass, strained to see outside. A man was standing, only a few feet from the back door. There's only one other way to go. Up. I slipped out of the kitchen into the hall. After what seemed hours, I found the stairway and carefully stepped on the first step. It creaked. I leaped higher enough to one side, just in time. Another step. Start again. There was only one thing to do. I raced up the stairs. I flung myself to the floor. Downstairs, I heard the front door open again. More of them had entered the house. They were taking no chances. I lay there on the floor at the head of the stairs, scarcely daring to breathe. I knew I could get anyone coming up that stairs with my gun, but was there another stairway to the second floor? I knew so many of these houses had them. Perhaps this one did too. And that someone outside. I heard something thump against the side of the house. One of them was trying to get in. One of them was coming in through some window on the second floor. From every side, death was closing in on me.
In just a moment, we will return to Escape. But first, that happy but hectic couple, Ozzie and Harriet, come home to CBS tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. So get your whole family together to welcome them home next Sunday night, when they'll be heard on most of these same CBS stations just before the Jack Benny Show. And now, with our star, Barry Kroger as David, we return to the second act of Escape and Confidential Agent.
I was on the second floor of the old house on Malin End, and the Baron's men were downstairs, slowly working their way up to me, searching me out. It was a quick decision. The open rooftop presented a chance of escape, and lying here in the dark was tempting discovery. A moment later, I was through a skylight and in the night air. 5 houses away, I found fire escape and has reached the ground. And 2 blocks farther, on Blean Street, I found a cheap hotel and registered under another name. The next morning, I took a taxi to the house of Lord Benditch. The butler, with the empty face of the typical British servant, took my coat and then showed me into the room where Lord Benditch and 4 other men waited. These men were the Diamond Syndicate.
You're the man we're expecting?
Yes. I think you know the object of my visit.
We had a letter a fortnight ago. Strange the purchase wasn't handled through your embassy or consulate. This is Mr. Forbes.
How do you do? How do you do?
Lord Petty.
Oh, my lord.
Mr. Brigstock.
How do you do, sir?
Mr. O'Grady. You'll forgive us if we get to business right away?
I should like that. Now, I'm prepared to pay the highest market price, for which I have here a side draft and a bonus of 25% after the diamonds reach my country.
You will take the diamonds yourself?
Oh, yes.
Then the bonus should be paid now.
Benditch is right, old boy. You might never go back. And then, where should we be?
Perhaps, Lord Benditch, we could accept the offer as it is if we are given notes covering the bonus.
Oh, yes. I'm quite prepared to do that.
Very well. You understand we could do better than this, but we'd like to do business with established government. We must, however, be certain that you have the right to speak for your government. You have your credentials, of course.
Certainly, I have them.
Something wrong?
extraordinary. I had them in my breast pocket with my passport here.
Perhaps you left them at your hotel. Morning after a tacky evening, Laura?
I had them right here when I entered this house.
You're implying...
I did have my papers. They've been stolen.
I dare say. Well, it's obvious we can't do business with an unaccredited agent.
Lord Benditch, they've been stolen.
Rough go, old boy. But it looks like you've had it.
We are sorry, but Lord Benditch is right. We can't...
I walked slowly out of the room. I must admit they were fair. The butler must have taken the papers when he helped me off with my coat. But I had no proof. I went out into the hall, took my coat from the rack. I was about to leave when I heard my name.
David!
It was Rose Cullen.
David, did you get the diamonds from Father?
No, my papers have been stolen, and your
No.
father won't deal with me since I could not prove I represent my government. Rose, do you know, is your father's butler new?
Well, I think so, although I didn't really notice. I don't live here. I have my own apartment. You mean you think he's...
I'm sure of it. I had my papers when I came up the steps. They were gone when I went to show them to your father.
Then that means... Come along, David. We'll find out.
No, Rose. That would do no good. I'm sure that the Baron will have covered all loopholes. The papers are far away by now. No. I must think of some other way to convince your father.
Well, isn't there someone at your embassy?
I don't think so. We don't trust them. Except perhaps the second secretary. But even he may have been reached.
But we've got to do something. We can't
Me?
just...
Why do you suddenly want to help me? Only last night you were laughing at me, Rose.
Maybe I was. Last night.
Well, then, why?
Oh, David, can't you guess why I want to help you? To be with you.
Rose, look.
Oh, all you think of is your stupid war. Last night I laughed at you because you were a stuffy little man from another country, filled with ideas of his own importance and briefs and papers. And now, after I've had a chance to think things over, I know this isn't true.
Rose, a man in my position has to give up many things. He has no time to...
Fall in love. Why not, David? Why not?
Rose.
Oh, all right. I won't embarrass you. Now tell me something. Forbes and Brigstock were with Father when you met?
Yes, they were.
All right, then. Brigstock is an arse, but they'll both help your country if they're sure it's all right. I'll get them, and the four of us will go to your embassy. We'll make them prove who you are.
She was right. They both did seem anxious to help and were quite willing to go to the embassy with us. At the embassy, we waited for the second secretary. Then a man appeared, a countryman of mine, although I had never seen him before.
May I help you, gentlemen?
Yes. My name is Forbes. This is Mr. Brigstock.
How do you do?
We are associated with Lord Benditch. This is his daughter. We are considering doing business with this other gentleman who claims to represent your government.
I know of no official representative being sent here. What is your name, sir?
Here is my passport.
Yes. This is very strange. Mr. Forbes, the man whose name is on this passport is no longer alive.
Are you sure?
He was shot by the rebels.
Oh, you're lying. You didn't even look at the passport. You had your story ready before we even got here.
As a matter of fact, yes. We were warned that someone was posing as this man. We've had the Scotland Yard man here hoping he'd show up. Inspector.
Scotland Yard, eh? They'll get to the bottom of this.
I have no doubt.
Is this the man?
Yes. And here is his passport, Inspector.
I see. Well, sir, we're going to have to hold you.
On what charges, Inspector?
Well, there are several, miss. Using a forged passport, illegal entry into the country, trying to obtain a contract under false pretenses, inquiry into a hit-and-run death on the Dover Road last night, and inquiry into the death of a young woman on Malin End.
What if I refuse to accompany you, Inspector?
Well, in that case, sir, I'm afraid I'll have to force you.
Is it needed, Inspector? I have a gun here.
He doesn't need it, but I...
Oh, no!
Now, stand there! Don't try to follow me through the door!
Wait, David! I'm coming with you!
The two of us backed out of the room and ran downstairs. I knew it would be only a matter of minutes before there'd be an alarm out and Scotland Yard would be looking for me as well as the Baron's men. I was sure that I could beat the murder charges. But by that time, it would be too late to get the industrial diamonds to my country, even if I could buy them. Rose took me to her apartment. Then, without telling me what she was going to do, she left. An hour later, she was back.
David! It worked.
What worked?
I went to find Forbes and Brigstock. I convinced them that you don't dare stay and face the charges, and they're going to sell you the diamonds you need in spite of Father. Isn't it wonderful?
You are. I don't know how I can ever repay you.
By taking me back with you.
Rose, darling, I've told you before.
I'm not asking you to marry me. I'm only asking to go back with you, to take part in something that's decent and honest. After that, well, we'll take what comes.
You don't know what you're asking, Rose. It is not so simple as just going back.
What do you mean?
After today, Scotland Yard will be watching every ship leaving England. I can't book passage. I'll have to find some way to slip out of the country.
Forbes can arrange that, too, after you get the diamonds.
Forbes and Brigstock brought the diamonds. A small package that meant life for at least a while longer to my country. They both seemed only embarrassed when I tried to thank them, and when they left, Rose went with them. They had not been gone long. There was a knock on the door. I hesitated to answer to it.
It's Brigstock, old boy. I say, let me in.
Mr. Brigstock, is something wrong?
Oh, not a thing, old boy. You know, it occurred to me that you're in a bit of a spot about getting out of the country. But now that you have the diamonds, an idea happily struck me, so I just nipped back.
You know how I can get away?
Quite. The perfect solution, old boy, is this.
A gun?
As sweet of you to recognize it. No. I assure you I'm an expert shot. Bullseye and all that sort of thing.
You're one of them.
In a manner of speaking, yes. You see, I'm one of the fortunate few who recognize that democracies are decadent. Too weak, you know. Nothing for me to do but work with other Johnnies who agree.
An Aryan world for all you Aryan supermen. Is that it?
You know, Rose has exquisite taste in love. It's a pity you'll have to bleed all over it.
You're quite insane, Brigstock.
Not at all. You see, people like you never have the brains to understand the glorious world that we are going to build. A world dedicated to joy through strength. Forbes. I say, most unfair. Oh, no.
They can never resist making speeches. I thought there was something suspicious about Brigstock leaving us so suddenly, so I followed him. But there's no time to talk. You have to get out of here quickly.
Where shall I go?
I own a resort hotel near South Crawl. I'll make a reservation for you, and tonight one of my men will pick you up there, put you on a freighter bound for your country.
Then Brigstock?
Brigstock is our problem. I'll give them a full report of it when I turn myself in, as I must do. Perhaps my trial will help my country as much as your escape will help yours.
I reached the hotel just as it was getting dark. The lobby was filled with men and women in shorts and jackets, all of them talking of sports. Surely no place was safer. I went over to buy a newspaper.
I say, don't I know you? Your face is familiar.
I don't believe so.
Foreigner, aren't you? Why, Harriet, saw a photograph of you in the stock press edition of the Express.
I'm afraid you've made a mistake.
Can't get away from Scotland Yard. Best police force in the world.
No, I remember. It was murder. Don't try to get away now. I shall take measures, you know.
I thought of making a run for it, but there was no use. The lobby was filled with people. I couldn't hold up all of them. My captor sent someone to call the police. We sat down and waited.
You foreigners aren't civilized, you know.
Fellow told me when he was in Prague, he saw a chap shoot down a bobby right on the street. Can't do that sort of thing, you know.
Anyone in here by the name of...
Here we are. Are you the detective?
Detective? Why, yes.
Then here's your man.
Oh, I see. I have a warrant for your arrest, charging you...
I know the charge, officer. Don't bother with it.
Well, then, come along.
No handcuffs?
Oh, I don't think that will be necessary. I have a car right out here. Well, that was a close one.
No thing you played along, or I wouldn't have been sure what the charges were. You mean you're not a detective? Heavens, no. Mr. Forbes didn't tell me the yard was in this. Oh, they weren't before. It was in the last edition of the paper. One man recognized me and called the police.
Yes, lucky I came when I did then.
Very.
Well, we'll be at the coast before they get a search underway.
We reached the coast in half an hour, and I was hoisted over the side of a small freighter, like a piece of cargo. I stayed below until we were well underway, and then went above. The deck was uncovered, and the wind whipped the sharp spray across my face. I could feel the pressure of the package of diamonds in my pocket. My mission was over, and I was on my way home. Yet I felt neither relief nor happiness. I had thought there was no room in my life for both war and love. But now that there was only war ahead, I felt empty. I stared off at the lights, glimmering somewhere far astern.
That would be Plymouth Hope.
Rose.
Oh, David.
Rose, now. Rose, now. This is not the time for tears.
When I was a little girl, someone told me that most men don't know what they want, so they make gestures. And Ford said the same thing this afternoon. And so I decided not to waste time. And I made the decision for both of us.
Between Mr. Forbes and yourself, my darling, it seems everything has been taken care of.
Escape is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Today we have presented transcribed Confidential Agent by Graham Greene, adapted for radio by Ken Crossan with editorial supervision by John Dunkel. Starred as David was Barry Kroger. Featured in the cast were Edgar Barrier, Constance Cavendish, Herb Butterfield, Parley Bear, Olive Deering, Ben Wright, Wilms Herbert, and Alec Harford. Special music was arranged and played by Ivan Detmar. Next week.
You are standing alone in a lonely canyon in the shadows of Superstition Mountain. While facing you, tempers ragged, guns drawn, are three men who, at your first move toward hidden treasure, will shoot you dead.
Next week, we escape with Ralph Bates' unusual story, When the Man Comes, Follow Him. Be sure to tune in at the same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. Tomorrow night on CBS is really something to talk about and listen to. Academy Award winner Jane Wyman on the CBS Family Hour of Stars. Ozzie and Harriet, Jack Benny, Amos and Andy, Sam Spade, and Lum and Abner. These are only a few of the great stars and shows which will come to you tomorrow night on most of these same CBS network stations. Jack Benny, of course, will be heard on the entire CBS network. This is Roy Rowan speaking. Now, stay tuned for 5 minutes of the latest news to be followed by the Let's Pretend program over most of these same CBS network stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, transcribed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are standing in a lonely canyon in the shadows of Superstition Mountain. While facing you, tempers ragged, guns drawn, are three men who, at your first move toward hidden treasure, will kill you.
Today, with Paul Dubov, starred as Pascal, we escape to the Arizona desert and a lost treasure of $1 million, as Ralph Bates told it in his most unusual story, When the Man Comes, Follow Him.
I was wrong. I know that now. But what good's it do? How could you tell dead men that it's all your fault and you're sorry? No matter what you tell them, they're still dead. So what's the use? It never would have happened if we hadn't got mixed up in this superstition business. We was going along fine. All the other boys in Frisco respected us, stayed out of our territory, at least most of the time. That was on account of the boss, Mr. Heineman. He was too smart for them, and they knew it. Smart, and a great guy along with it. Of course, some people might call him an ordinary racketeer, but he wasn't like that. Nobody could have treated me no better. And he was cultured, too, loved music. Played the violin almost as good as this fellow, Heifetz, or whatever his name is. Why, one time he sent me clear to New York to pick up a Stradivarius he'd heard about. And I had to hang around the dealer's store for 2 weeks before I got a chance to lift it. He wouldn't have trusted a job like that to any of the rest of the boys. He trusted me more than any of them. Me, Pascal. That's how come I feel so bad about what's happened. Because he trusted me. And he had to trust somebody, you understand. Because for 15 years, the boss had been stone blind.
Come on, Pascal. Eyes, man. Give me eyes.
But it's foggy down there, boss. I can't see the bay at all, just the end of the bridge. And out toward the Golden Gate, there's nothing but just fog. I guess it's going to rain.
What about the street below us, Pascal? What's going on down there?
Nothing. Just streetcars and taxis going up and down and a few people. Not very many. I tell you, boss, there's nothing doing at all. It's a very dull day.
All right, forget it. You can come away from the window.
Why don't you play the violin a while?
No, not today. I'm too restless. Something is going to happen, I think.
Happen? What's going to happen?
I don't know. Something. Are any of the boys here?
Brian and Daly in the next apartment playing Jim Rummy. You want I should call it?
No. I wonder if you know what it's like, Pascal, to live always in pitch darkness, depending on somebody else to tell you what's going on around you.
Ah, forget it, boss. You got me. I'm the eyes, you're the brain. We're doing all right.
Maybe, only sometimes I wonder...
I'll get it, boss. I'll get it. Mr. Heineman's apartment. Who? Well, I'm not sure whether Mr. Heineman...
Who is it?
Oh, I see. All right, thanks. That was the manager. Your brother's here from Phoenix.
Mark? He's downstairs?
Yeah. He's on his way up. The manager couldn't stop him. He says he looks like he's in pretty bad shape.
Ever see a desert rat that didn't?
No.
Well, so I'm to be honored by a visit from my sanctimonious brother.
I wonder what he wants.
Oh, money as usual, $300 or $400 to finance another 6 months of prospecting, and he'll repay it by telling me what an evil man I am.
I wouldn't give it to him, boss.
Why not? As long as it keeps him over there on the Arizona desert, most of the year, I can stand 1 or 2 visits from him. You can hear the elevator stopping. Better open the door.
I still say you ought to crack down on him.
Open the door. Hello, Mark.
Help.
Come in.
Boss, he's hurt or something.
Me.
What is it? Eyes, Pascal. Quick.
Hasn't shaved for 4 or 5 days. He's weak, trembling. Holding on to the doorframe with his right hand, holding his chest with the other hand. I think he's been shot, boss.
Yes. Shot.
Come here.
Help me.
Take it easy. Take it easy. Here, come on. Over on the couch.
Okay. Come on. Here we are, boss.
Easy now. There. What happened, Mark?
I had to get here. I want you to have it. So he can't.
He's out of his head.
Get Brian and Daly over here. Brian knows a lot about gunshot wounds.
All right, boss.
What happened, Mark? Who shot you?
Shot.
Connect me with 907.
Had to get here.
Come on. Hello, Brian.
All that glitters is...
Right away.
All that... Fools. Oh, fools. Treasures of kings and princes... dying.
Mark, you've got to get hold of yourself.
Dying. Had to get here. You get it instead of him. Watch out for him.
Who, Mark?
Map. Old map and a new map.
He doesn't even make sense.
Look.
Eyes, Pascal, what's he doing?
He's raised up a little. He's pointing with his finger at the carpet about 4 feet away.
When you get there, watch for it. When the man comes, follow him. Understand?
Sure, Mark. When the man comes, follow.
Yes. When the man comes,
What's he mean?
No.
What's up, boss? Pascal said you wanted me.
Come in, Brian. This is my brother. He's been shot. See what you can do for him.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Got to think. What could he possibly have stumbled into?
Yeah, this happened a couple of days ago at least. Should have had a doctor right away.
He wanted to get here for some reason. Why?
His daily boss.
What's coming off in here? You're not cooking up something and leaving little Daly out of it. Ain't I in this, Mom?
Stop your barking, Daly, before I throw you a can of Strong Hot.
Don't get so smart now, Pascal. I got as much right to talk around here as you have.
I said shut up. The boss's brother is here. He's been shot. He's in bad shape.
Yeah, you're not kidding, Pascal. Matter of fact, he's about in as bad shape as he'll ever be. Boss, he's dead.
That was the start of the thing. When the doc came, he said Mark should have died 24 hours earlier. Said he stayed alive long enough to get to Frisco on sheer nerve, nothing else. Mr. Hyman, he don't say much. He let the doctor take charge of everything. There was a wallet and some other stuff in Mark's pockets. Mr. Heineman, he took it with him and went into his own room and stayed there. After a while, the other boys drifted back to their rummy game, and finally, about 10 o'clock, I went to bed. At 2 in the morning, I woke up to find Heineman shaking my arm.
Pascal, can you hear me? Pascal, come on, wake up.
Okay, boss. I'm awake. What's the matter?
I've been thinking. Got some ideas I'd like to talk about.
All right, I'm listening.
It's about Mark, the things he said. They begin to make sense.
Well, maybe to you, but not to me.
Look, is this what I think it is?
Oh, wait a minute, boss. I'll get some light.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a map of a mountain range, I think. There's a lot of wavy lines like they use for valleys and ridges. There's some faded writing on it, brown ink. I think it's pretty old.
60 or 70 years at least, judging by the feel of the paper. Go on, Pascal. Describe it to me.
Well, it looks like a road runs across the bottom along the base of the mountains. And there's a spot on it marked Red Hill. And there's a wavy line starts there and runs about halfway up the map. It runs past some dots marked 3 trees. And off on one side is a little drawing of a shovel with a broken handle. And it ends at another spot marked camp.
It's probably a trail.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, the camp is beside a line that looks like the edge of a ridge or a cliff. And there's some writing that says, if no answer, go down.
If no answer, go down. What else?
Well, about a third of the way to the left from the camp, there's an X marked, and it says, man lives here. Up toward the top, there's another X. That's marked Thunder Peak. And at the very top, there's the word superstition. I guess that's about all.
Good. Later, I'll have you take my finger and trace over the whole thing until I know it by heart. But this is enough to start on.
To start what on?
A search, whatever caused my brother's death. Something rather valuable, if my thinking is correct.
All right. Only, how do we go about finding it?
Mark told us how. When the man comes, follow him.
You know what it means?
Not yet.
Well, if the map's 60 years old or more, how do you figure this guy's going to be there?
Because my brother found him and followed him and then died for it. We're going to follow him, too. You and I and Bryant and Daly. We're going to Phoenix.
Boss, I think maybe it's kind of a mistake to take Daly along.
Why?
Well, because he's a double-crosser. That's why I've been trying to tell you can't trust him.
Don't worry. I can handle him. He's not the one who has to be watched.
Then who is? Bryant?
Let's leave it for now. Call the ticket office and get 4 reservations on the next plane out. I've got the feeling we'd better move fast.
By the next afternoon, we checked into the Hotel Westwood Ho in Phoenix and started trying to get a line on Mark Heineman's recent activities. After 2 days, we still didn't have much to go on. He'd apparently hooked up with some new partner about 6 months before and gone into the desert. No one had seen anything of him since. An old man who ran a hardware store where Mark had bought tools and supplies finally gave us the tip-off without knowing it.
You see, Mr. Heineman, your brother was one of the fellows around here who believed in the legend of the Lost Dutchman mine. I figure that's what he was really prospecting for.
What is the Lost Dutchman mine?
It's supposed to be a deposit of gold, richer than any's ever been found. A real treasure of kings.
Treasure of kings? Boss, that's what he said. Quiet,
According to the stories, there's supposed to be a map in existence somewhere showing the exact location of the mine, drawn by the Dutchman himself. During the last 50 years or so, a lot of prospectors have gone back into the superstitions looking for it, but none of them...
What do you mean by superstitions?
Well, Superstition Mountains, out on the desert east of town. That's where the mine's supposed to be located.
Why are they called superstitions?
Guess because so many fellas have gone up into 'em and never come back. There's supposed to be an Apache curse on anybody goes in there. The range used to be sacred to the Indian god of thunder.
I see. And why do you think these men never came back?
Heat, thirst, got lost, snake bite. Oh, it's awful rough country, and there's no water. Then, too, there might be a kind of curse on the place at that. The double cross.
Meaning?
Well, blazing sun and a lust for gold can be a bad combination on a man's nerves. A lot of partners have come back out of those hills alone.
Double cross, huh? At least that's one curse that isn't limited to the superstitions. You'll find it in a lot of places. Well, we better go. Many thanks for your information.
Well, not at all, Mr. Heineman. Sorry I couldn't be of more help.
So that's what Mark found, a gold mine.
A rich one, maybe?
It must be. Mark was dying and he knew it, and yet all he talked about was treasure of kings. Gold, in other words. He didn't even tell us who shot him.
Maybe his partner did it.
Maybe. Pascal.
Yeah?
I want you to buy a pair of binoculars and rent a car.
Uh-huh.
We're going to drive out and try to locate that red hill this afternoon.
All right, boss.
The one thing we've got to watch out for is that curse. That's what happened to Mark.
Yeah, it's only an Indian superstition.
I'm talking about the double cross. Mark wasn't the first man to die from it, and I don't think he'll be the last. Here, Pascal, let me take your arm.
I rented an ash sedan from the garage at the hotel, and we headed out across the desert east of town. It was late afternoon before we finally found it. The only red hill on the east slope of the superstitions. Mr. Heineman told me to take the binoculars and try to locate the 3 trees that were marked on the map. I left the car, worked my way around the far side of the hill, and almost to the top before I could see the trees standing close together on the shoulder of the ridge about 6 miles away. Just the way they were shown on Mark Heineman's map. I stared up at the pale blue peaks in the distance, watched the lightning flashes from near the tops of them, and shivered a little. Finally, I turned and started back to the road. Dusk had fallen fast, like it does in the desert, and it was nearly dark when I reached the car and opened the door. Mr. Heineman was slumped over in the seat with blood running from a cut in his forehead. He was unconscious.
In just a moment, we will return to Escape. But first, Ozzie and Harriet are back on CBS, coming to you on most of these same stations every Sunday evening, just before the Jack Benny Show. You'll find them more delightful, more welcome than ever. Ozzie and Harriet's own 2 boys, Ricky and David, are now playing themselves in the CBS series. So make it a family party with Ozzie and Harriet tomorrow night. And now, with our star, Paul Dubov as Pascal, and with Herb Butterfield as Mr. Heineman, we return to the second act of Escape and... When the man comes, follow him.
Boss, come on now, wake up. You're not hurt, Pat. It's only a little cut in your scalp. Come on, boss. Come on,
Pascal?
Yeah, it's me. I'm here with you now. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Pascal. Did you see him?
No, I didn't see anybody. Who was it? What happened?
A man. Talked with a Texas straw, wearing heavy boots with hobnails.
Uh-huh.
Came up on the side of the car next to the hill and poked a gun in my face. He knew who I was and that I was blind. He wanted the map.
Did he get it?
No. I put it under the floor mat when I heard him coming.
Good.
Tried to grab his gun. He slugged me. Started going through my pockets.
Uh-huh.
Ran off in the rocks when he heard you coming.
Well, it's dark up there now. No good trying to follow him.
Never mind. I know who he is.
Oh, did he tell you?
No, but it fits together. Mark had a partner.
This guy?
Sure. Who else could he be?
Then this is the guy who shot Mark.
I think so. I imagine there was a double cross and he got even, but... Wait. No, of course not.
What's the matter, boss?
Oh, what a fool I've been.
What do you mean?
I had it figured all along that Mark double-crossed his partner and got shot for it. It was the other way round.
Oh.
It was Mark's map. And this partner doesn't know the secret of it. He probably knows where the man lives, but 10 to 1 he doesn't know about following him. Pascal.
Yeah, boss?
Get the car started and head back to the hotel. We've got to get an outfit together and start up that trail tomorrow morning. There's no time to lose. Let's go.
At 9 o'clock the next morning, the 4 of us passed the Red Hill and started up the rocky trail that led toward the far-off heights of Thunder Peak. Brian and Daly each led 2 mules loaded with food and kegs of water, and I took care of Mr. Heineman. It was already hot, even at that time of morning, and boy, it got hotter. The line drawn on the map followed the crest of a ridge, but there wasn't really any trail. We wound around through tumble masses of rocks and boulders, climbed over cliffs and gullies, and stumbled across crumbling slopes of debris that slid away beneath our feet and crashed down into the ravine. By noon, we would stop and rest every 10 minutes. Even the rest didn't do no good, because there wasn't any shade. By late afternoon, we'd covered only 6 miles, and we were done in. None of us had known how hot a desert sun could get. We were ready to turn back or fight one another at the least excuse.
Come on. Move, you four-legged devil. Still worse for you than it is for me.
What's the matter, Daly? Your tongue's hanging out.
Let it hang. When I get back to Frisco, I never want to see the sun again.
It's good for you.
Nuts.
It'll give you a tan. Get rid of that fish belly sand-quitting complexion of yours.
How would you like to have a bullet in the stomach, Pascal?
Go ahead and draw if you feel lucky.
Pascal, Daly, that's enough now. Cut it out.
Pascal started.
I don't care who started. That's enough. We're too close to $1 million worth of gold to have the whole thing loused up because somebody lost his temper.
You said $1 million?
That's right, Brian. According to the story, that's how much the Dutchman is supposed to have dug out of the mine and hidden before he was killed by Apaches without ever getting back to bring it out.
$1 million. Boy, what a man could do with $1 million.
Not $1 million, Daly. 25% of $1 million. That's the amount of your share, you know.
Yeah, sure. I know. I was just thinking.
Hey, look. Right ahead of us. We couldn't see him on account of the ridge. Trees! 3 trees!
Oh, boy, a little shade will sure kill.
What's wrong? Eyes, Pascal, what is it?
The trees, boss. The ones marked on the map. Only they're dead. Been dead for years, they look like.
Yeah.
There's not a square foot of shade under all 3 of them.
Well, can't be helped. At least it means we're on the right trail. It's still the easiest way I know to get $1 million. Let's push on.
Two hours later, we came across a shovel with a broken handle stuck on the top of a pile of rocks, so we knew we were still heading in the right direction. The shovel had been drawn on the map. We stopped there for the night. A while after dark, the boss heard somebody in the rocks, so we put out the fire we built and took turns standing guard. And later, when the moon was up, I thought I saw something moving a short way off, but I couldn't be sure. Yeah, it was a creepy feeling, thinking I was being watched, not seeing anybody. All night long, I could see the flares of lightning and hear the low thunder from the top of the shadowy peak ahead of us. Was I glad when dawn finally came and we hit that trail again. But 2 hours later, I was wishing for sundown again. It was even hotter than the day before. And on top of it, all of us were so stiff and sore we could hardly move. We cursed and sweated and stumbled through the long, blazing day. Finally, at dusk, we reached the spot marked camp on the map. It was close to the edge of a straight-walled cliff that yawned over a deep box canyon below. There were signs of campfires and burro tracks. This place had been used before. Yeah, we were too tired to care. Not even bothering to unsaddle the mules, we drank from one of the kegs and dropped down in the shade of a rock ledge, not able to move any further. After about an hour, the sun slipped behind the ridges to the west and left us in the shadow. The boss got us onto our feet, put Brian to search for something to use for a fire, and told Daly to unpack the mules. He took me with him to scout along the rim of the cliff and try to find out what was meant by the words on the map. If no answer, go down. After half an hour, we found nothing, and we were ready to decide there was no way to go down that 1,000-foot rock wall when suddenly...
Pascal, that was a shot. You see anything?
No, it was back toward camp, but there's a ridge between us. I can't see a sign of any...
Come on, Pascal.
Yeah,
take hold of my arm.
Okay.
Let's get back there fast.
Who is it? Come on, speak up or I'll shoot.
Relax, Brian. It's us.
That's Pascal and the boss. Did you see anybody?
No, what happened?
Somebody took a shot at Daly. He got all spooked up and fired off half a clip.
It was that guy that's been following us, boss. I saw him there in the rocks not 100 feet away.
And you missed him, I suppose.
Well, it was dark.
Hey, what happened to the mules? They're gone.
Yeah, they stampeded when Daly fired off that gun in their ears.
That's great. We'll have a fine time packing 5 kegs of water and all the supplies on our backs.
Yeah. Well...
Boss, we don't have 5 kegs of water. There's only one here.
What? I hadn't unpacked the mules yet, boss. I was going as soon as it got a little cooler.
You fool, you stupid, lazy, blundering fool.
That's what I've been telling you, boss. All the brains this dope's got...
You shut up, Pascal. I'm a cricket.
Daily, I could kill you and love it. I could stand here and pump bullets into you and love it. Do you know how long a man can live up here without water? 24 hours at the most.
But we still got 5 gallons of water. I didn't know they were going to run off. How could I...
Shut up! It's done. That's that. Go see if there's any chance of finding them. And try to keep from getting yourself shot. I go with him, Brian.
Okay, boss. Come on, smart boy.
If you don't find them in 20 minutes, come on back. 5 gallons of water for 4 men. It'll take us a full day to get down into that canyon and find the spot where the man lives. Another day to get back here, if we're lucky. And 2 more days back to the road. I guess we can just barely make it.
There's only one thing, boss. There's no way to get down into that canyon.
I think I've got the answer there. At least that's one thing that shooting did. Listen. Hello! Hello!
Sure. It's an echo.
If no answer, go down.
Yeah.
I think we'll find a spot someplace along the rim of that cliff where there's no echo. When we do, I think there'll be some way to get down to the bottom. We'll try it in the morning. And one other thing, Pascal, before they come back.
Yeah, boss.
From here on, keep an eye on Bryant. I think that gold is beginning to look pretty big to him.
I think maybe you're making a mistake. I think Daly's a lot more likely to try something. He's a born double-crosser.
No. He's a fool and a coward. But Bryant's the one who's dangerous. And you do as I tell you. And watch out for him. Do you understand?
All right. Sure, boss. Whatever you say. An hour after dawn the next morning, we found a spot on the edge of the cliffs where there was no echo. Slanting downward from it was a narrow, steep crack in the wall. The 4 of us took turns packing our one last keg of water and inched our way down toward the canyon floor 1,000 feet below. We made it finally, rested, then struck out to the west following the map. Great chunks of rock lay tossed about as though giants had played there, and thorn and cactus grew everywhere among them. The sunlight curled and blistered on the surface of the boulders, and always from above us and nearer now came the sullen and ominous roll of thunder. At noon, we stumbled across the bed of the ravine, nearly missing it from being half blinded by the heat. And 3 hours later, we found the place where the man lives. It was marked by a monument built of broken rock stacked up higher than our heads. Mr. Heinemann felt all over the surface of it with his hands and then told us he knew the meaning of the words, "When the man comes, follow him." But he said it wasn't time yet. We'd have to wait. We sat there by the pile of stones, not talking much, just waiting. 2 hours passed. I think it was Daly who noticed it first.
Look. Look there on the ground.
There's somebody here. He's behind us.
Hit the dirt!
I don't see any. So that's it.
Boys, I'm a little disappointed in you. Scared by a shadow.
Look at it. It's the shadow of that pile of rocks. Looks just like a man with a hat on holding a gun.
Yeah. The rock pile don't look like a man, but the shadow does.
Well, since he's apparently come now, I guess we better follow him.
Huh?
How do you mean follow him?
The sun's going down. The shadow must be getting longer, stretching out over the ground. So get going. Follow the direction it's pointing.
Yeah.
Pascal will stay here with me and keep you in line. Watch for signs of something buried, rocks laid over it, a cleared space, something of that kind.
Okay.
We're not more than a few feet from $1 million. Let's get it.
The 2 of them worked their way along through the rocks while I stood by the monument and waved them toward one side or the other. Part of the time they were out of sight behind a ledge of boulder. An army could have hidden in that broken mess and never been noticed. I kept describing everything that was happening to the boss. And about 20 minutes went by before I heard Daly shout.
We found it! Gold! It's here! We found it!
He scrambled over a ledge and came running toward us, calling out and holding something in his hand. Then about 100 feet away from us, he stopped suddenly and drew his gun.
Pascal, what is it? What's happening?
Daly's pulled the gun on us, boss. Drop it, Daly! Drop it or I'll shoot!
No, Pascal! He's in between us, you fool! He's hiding in the rock!
All right, Daly, you asked for it. Pascal, no! I got him, boss. The dirty double-crosser. Fool! He was going to kill us, boss. He was coming at us with a... Wait, somebody staggered onto the rocks there and fell. Somebody I never saw before.
My brother's partner, the man who's been following us.
But then Daly killed him and I killed Daly. Boss, I thought Daly was shooting at us. I didn't know there was anybody else there.
Well, you know now. I told you to keep an eye on Bryant. What's happened to him, Pascal? Where's Bryant?
Right behind you, suckers.
Look out, boss! How's he shooting, Bryant? I got him, boss. He missed me. I got him.
Good. Only he didn't miss me.
Boss! No, boss.
Pascal, you hear the thunder?
Yeah, sure. It's real loud.
That's funny. Same old curse. Double cross.
It's my fault, boss. I should have done like you told me and watched Bryant.
$1 million in golds for somebody else.
Don't talk like that. It's for us. For you and me. I'll get you out, boss. You're not really hit bad, you know.
Man, I'm dying. And you too, Pascal.
What?
You're going to die too.
What? What do you mean?
The water keg. Bryant's bullet. Smashed it. I heard the water running out.
Huh? No.
Am I right?
Yeah. It's all gone.
It's 3 days out to the highway, Pascal. And you don't have any water. You poor devil. You don't have one single drop of water.
Escape is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Today we have presented Transcribed. When the Man Comes, Follow Him by Ralph Bates. Adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, with editorial supervision by John Dunkel. Starred as Pascal was Paul Dubov, with Herb Butterfield as Mr. Heineman. Featured in the cast were Harry Bartell, Jeff Corey, Barney Phillips, and Junius Matthews. Special music was arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars. Next week,
you're standing on the rolling deck of a pirate junk in the China Seas, and facing you is the sinister figure of the most feared man in the Orient, a general who has just doomed you to death.
Next week, we escape with an unusual story, The General Died at Dawn by Charles Booth. Be sure to tune in at the same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. It's wonderful, truly amazing, how much you can get from just one radio program. The unbounded passion of the world's greatest Don Juan, the unrivaled music of the world's most eminent soloist, an unsurpassed lesson in philanthropy. Also, some of the greatest laughter you'll ever hear. For the program is The Jack Benny Show. Be sure to hear Jack Benny and his gang again Sunday at 7 o'clock Eastern Time over these same CBS stations. This is Roy Rowan speaking. Now, stay tuned for 5 minutes of the latest news, to be followed by the Let's Pretend program over most of these stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Rice Chex and Wheat Chex, the bite-sized cereals in the red and white checkerboard packages, presents Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy are in their spacesuits aboard a wrecked spaceship, stranded on a meteor. Through the nose port, they watch an enemy spaceship land.
It's Smead's ship, all right, Commander. Have your ray gun ready, Hap. We'll give them a fight. Yes, sir. Yeah, they're shining some sort of light on us. Wow, what a glare. Don't look at it. Some kind of special ray. Drop to the deck. I can still see the light, even with my eyes shut. It's burning into my brain. Fight it, Hap. Keep low. Commander, everything's turning black. We can work our way aft and get some shielding between us and that ray. It's no use, Commander. I can't move.
We'll return in just a moment with today's exciting Space Patrol adventure, Invasion from Tiranna.
Hey, Space Patroller, what do you see peering through your periscope?
Hi, Captain Toothbill. I'm spying on the mailbox around the corner. I'm spying on my pals, all of them dropping letters into the box. You know what they're sending away for?
The swell Space Patrol periscope?
You bet, Captain.
Well, Space Patrollers, you better take a tip from our pal here and send for your Space Patrol periscope today. And I don't want any of you to miss out on the neat fun you can have spying through the eye of your own periscope. That magical mirror that lets you see around corners and trees, over fences and bushes, but nobody can see you.
You can see right over the heads of real tall people, too. Because the periscope's 24 inches high and tapered special for wide-angle vision.
And you'll like the keen periscope colors, too. Blue, yellow, and red.
And don't forget, Captain Toothbill, there's a special identification chart of Outer Space Patrol printed right on the periscope, and a place for your name, address, and solar system.
Yes, it's plenty terrific. So, gang, hurry and send for yours right now. Remember, this is the last time we can offer you the Space Patrol periscope. Send or rice checks or wheat checks, box top, together with your name, address, and 25 cents in coin to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. Don't forget your 25 cents. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, Invasion from Tiranna. Commander Corey and Cadet Happy are in their Star Drive spaceship, cruising far beyond the orbit of Tiranna 15, outermost planet of a remote solar system in the constellation Pegasus. With their Space Patrol periscope, they're observing Tiranna's preparations for the coming attack upon the United Planets. Right now, the instrument is focused on a vast spaceport near the capital city of Tiranna.
Wow. There must be 100 spaceships there, Commander. And all Star Drive jobs from the looks of it.
That's just one spaceport. Maybe 10 more on other planets with just as many ships.
Well, how are we going to locate them all, sir? It would take months to search all 15 planets with just this one periscope.
We can't hope to find out how many ships are going to attack. We'll be lucky if we can find out when the invasion starts.
And the only warning we'll get is when we see some of those ships blast off.
Then we'll go into Star Drive and return to the United Planets.
That means the Space Patrol will get only a few minutes warning. I sure wish our spacephone would work through hyperspace.
Well, that wouldn't help much, Hank. If those ships go into Star Drive, they'd reach our solar system right behind our warning. Now, let me see if I can locate General Mognier's headquarters with the periscope.
It's a building east of the spaceport, according to what we picked up from that spy of his while we were captured.
Pat, rig up the microfilm camera for the periscope. May be able to photograph some Tiranian documents.
Well, that won't do much good, sir. We can't read Tiranian.
No, but back on Terra, there are a couple of captured Tiranian spies that can translate for us.
Yeah, that's right. And the brain graph can tell us whether they're telling the truth or not.
Elsewhere, in his headquarters on Tiranna 7, capital planet of the enemy solar system, General Mognier, chief of the Tiranian intelligence section, goes over invasion plans with a spy, Kosuri, known to Buzz and Happy as Matthew Smead.
I have just received word from Central Command on our task units on 8 other planets are ready for embarkment.
Then we are waiting for the unit here on Tiranna 7.
Yes, Kosuri. The ships of the command unit are being loaded with supplies now. Look. Mark this date on the calendar, Kosuri. This is the date of our attack on the United Planets.
Yes, General. And I trust I am being considered for a suitable command in the occupation forces?
I'll consider that matter after our next campaign.
Our next campaign?
Yes. After the United Planets are under control, Tiranna will launch an offensive against Varkol.
What?
Varkol is a star just 8 light years from our system. Its planets are inhabited and developed to a high degree in technology.
Why haven't we attacked it before?
Because we weren't sure we could conquer it. Latest reports, however, show that the people of Varkol are entirely peaceable. Despite their scientific advancement, they should be easier to defeat than the United Planets. I'll go over our plan in detail.
Well, Commander, it's all on microfilm. I don't see that it'll do us much good. Too bad we couldn't hear what the General and Smead were talking about.
It would be in Tiranian language anyway, Hank. Still, I've learned something important.
You have, sir? What?
In the periscope, you could see a chart of our solar system and the Tiranian calendar. General Mognier pointed to a date 2 days off. Very likely that's the date of the invasion.
2 days? Well, that's more time than we expected. Wait a minute. How do you know that was a calendar?
I picked up a little Tiranian during the past few weeks from the spies we captured. Naturally, I can't translate any of their documents, but I know their number system, and I know how they measure time. That was a calendar.
And we've got 2 days warning.
No, less than that. 1 day on Tiranna 7 is much shorter than a 24-hour period in our solar system time. In fact, it's just a little more than 6 hours.
Wow. Then 2 days Tiranna time is about 12 hours in our solar system.
Right. But from watching General Mugnier at that star chart, we've got a pretty good idea where the attack will originate.
Yeah, but he was pointing to some other part of space, a lot nearer to Tiranna than our solar system.
I noticed that. There's a star about 8 light years from Tiranna. If Mugnier was talking about it at this time, I'd say it was either an ally of Tiranna or their next victim.
Commander, look. Isn't that a spaceship in the viewscope?
Yes. Probably a Tiranian patrol ship.
It's a long ways off. Not across vector. I don't think they've seen us yet.
We'll increase velocity and go into star drive now.
Hey, what's that?
Get a directional fix in that signal.
Yes, sir. Sounds like some sort of automatic code.
Yes. Too simple for a message. Could be a warning or a sign that we've been picked up by a Tiranian patrol.
I don't think it's coming from that other ship, Commander. It seems to be coming from about 15 degrees off our starboard. Yeah, I think I've got it fixed, sir. That distress signal is originating at 16.5 degrees off our present heading.
I'll adjust the viewscope, Pat. Why do you call it a distress signal?
Gee, sir, I don't know. It just popped into my head, that's all.
You may be right. Look at the starboard viewscope.
It's a meteor.
Yes, look what's on it.
Spaceship. A Tiranian ship must have cracked up, and their spaceophone is sending out an automatic signal.
Could be. Take a look at that ship. Doesn't look like any Tiranian spacecraft I've seen.
It sure doesn't.
And there are probably a lot of planetary-type ships in the Tiranian system.
Yeah. And that ship way back there at our rear. It's probably coming to rescue him.
Maybe. That ship is on our vector, not the meteor's.
Well, anyway, it's no problem of ours, is it, sir? I mean, even if we were perfectly safe, this isn't our solar system.
No, it isn't. That ship on the meteor, I don't know why, but I'd swear it isn't a Tiranian ship.
Well, after all, if we tried to help, we'd probably be captured. And our first duty is to alert the United Planets about the attack. Isn't that right, sir?
Sure, Hap, that's fine.
Well, even if it only took a few minutes, it's still too big a risk. Poor fellow. All alone on a meteor and in a strange solar system.
You know he's all alone. In fact, how do you know anyone's alive after that crash? Obviously, it's an automatic signal.
Yeah, that's right. But somehow I get the impression that... Well, we're pretty near up to star drive velocity, aren't we, Commander?
Get 2 spacesuits out of the locker, Happy.
2 spacesuits?
We'll need them when we land on that meteor on the double hat.
Yes, sir, Commander.
After rapidly decelerating, Buzz changes vector and heads for the meteor. A few moments later, the star-drive ship lands on a barren lump of rock near a damaged spaceship of strange design. In their spacesuits, Buzz and Happy are approaching the wreck.
There's no sign of life, sir. No. It's funny about that signal. Cut out just as we changed vector and headed for the meteor. The ship's pretty badly damaged, Commander. There's a big hole in the hull. If anyone's in there, they'd better be wearing a spacesuit. Yeah. I don't see that other ship. Say, maybe they lost us when we changed vector. I hope so. All right, Hap, let's see if we can get the hatch open. Yes, sir. I hope it doesn't lock from inside. There. Commander, look. Lying there on the deck. Man, the spacesuit. Maybe we're too late. He looks awfully pale. No, we can't do anything for him here. We'll carry him to our ship.
Gently, Buzz and Happy lift the limp figure in the spacesuit and carry him to the control compartment of their own ship. Opening the face pieces of their own helmets, they examine the spacesuit of the stranger for a similar release catch.
Hey, the spacesuit is certainly different from ours. How do we get his helmet open?
I'll work on it, Hap. You check the viewscope. See if that other ship is in sight.
Yes, sir. Did you get a look at the controls for that other fellow's ship? He sure isn't from Tiranna.
No, and he sure picked a bad part of the galaxy to get wrecked in. Yeah, I'm getting it, Hap.
I hope he breathes the same kind of air we do.
If he doesn't, he's no worse off than he was in his own ship.
Commander, we're on a spot. There's a ship heading straight for this meteor.
Just a periscope, Hap. Focus it inside that ship. Hurry.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've got the helmet open. He's alive. His eyes are opening. Thank you. Thank you.
Smoking rockets, he speaks English.
He's in pretty bad shape. I take care of him. You stand by to blast off. And to fire space torpedoes at that ship.
Yes, sir.
Please, listen to me. I'm hurt. There's a medicine kit in my ship. I must have it or I'm finished.
Commander, I've got the periscope focused inside that ship. And guess who's at the controls?
Smead?
Right. And General Mogner.
Medicine in my ship. Get it, please.
Hey, Commander, Smead isn't close enough to use his null ray on us. If we blast off now, we can keep the meteor between us and that ship until we get up velocity again.
Well, no. If Smead turns that on us, we're helpless.
He's nearly within range, sir. Shall I blast off?
Medicine kit. Please. He's nearly done for.
Smead's reaching for the null ray control, sir. What are we going to do?
We're going to save this man's life. Get the medicine kit.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. It's 1st and 10 and goal to go. And man, oh man, you don't miss a play when you're peering through the secret eye of your swell Space Patrol periscope. Yes, sir, gang, a periscope comes in mighty handy when you watch a football game or parade. You can use it to see over the heads of the crowds like I'm doing right now. It's a big, 24 inches high, tapered special for wide-angle vision. A mirror on top, one on the bottom, too. Use it to spy on your Earth pals. The periscope has magic mirrors that let you see around corners and trees, over fences and bushes, but nobody can see you. And say, you and your gang will have a neat time putting your periscopes together. The Space Patrol periscope comes in an official Space Patrol envelope. Just follow directions. They're printed right on the envelope. And in minutes, you're set to start peering through your periscope. So, gang, send for yours today. This is the last time we can offer it. The terrific Space Patrol periscope. Just send a Rice Chex or Wheat Chex box top, together with your name and address and 25 cents in coin, to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. This offer good only in the USA and may be withdrawn at any time. Now, don't forget your 25 cents and your Rice Chex or Wheat Chex box top. And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, Invasion from Tiranna. Although they knew a Tirannian patrol ship was after them, Buzz and Happy landed on a small meteor, answering a distress call from a strange spaceship that had crashed. They removed a man in the spacesuit from the wreck, bringing him to their own ship. To their surprise, the rescued man speaks English. Seriously injured, he begged them to bring a medicine kit from his ship. But unless Buzz and Happy blast off quickly, they'll soon be within range of the null ray of a Tirannian patrol ship now rushing toward the meteor. In the patrol ship, the spy Matthew Smead grins triumphantly as the meteor grows larger in the viewscope screen and the images of the two ships are outlined against the dark, jagged rock.
We've got Corey this time, General Mogner. He's within range of the null ray, and he's helpless.
Why did he land on that meteor in the first place? He could have escaped into star drive in another few minutes.
Obviously, he was investigating that other ship.
But that other ship isn't one of United Planets' ships. And it isn't one of ours.
If that isn't one of our ships on the meteor, where is that from?
I was just examining it this morning, and I do believe we're doubly in luck. That wrecked ship is from Barco.
Barco? Our next target for conquest. Are you sure?
Not possible. I haven't briefed myself yet on the characteristics of Barco's ships, but it keeps the general description.
But I thought the ships from Barco stayed close to their home planet.
Perhaps it's a spy ship. If so, it has met with the fate it deserves. However, this will give us a chance to study Barco's equipment. Yes, Kasorik, we've netted a double prize this trip. Corey and the ship from Barco.
As the Tirannian ship approaches closer to the meteor, Commander Corey does his best to make his injured guest comfortable, while waiting for Happy to return with the medicine kit from the wrecked ship.
I got it, Commander.
Open the kit, Happy. Hold it so we can see the contents. Now, raise your head a bit. There, can you see the medicine?
Yes. Yes, thank you. It's that blue container.
He's sure weak. He can hardly lift his hand.
Heavy spacer wasn't helping much. Yeah. This container, you mean?
Yes. Open it. Put one capsule between my lips. Hurry, please.
But it's slipping fast.
Here, my friend. You want some water with it?
No, just a capsule.
Thank you.
We'll be all right in a moment.
You just relax. We've got a little business to attend to.
You're sure right, sir. The ship's getting closer every second.
Come on, Hap. Let's fire a space torpedo.
It's not too late.
Line up the target.
I'm on target, Commander.
Okay, Hap. Fire one.
Hey, we're too late. Smeed must have used the null ray on us.
We tried blasting off. If only our rockets will fire.
Dead. Completely dead.
May I help you, my friends?
Wow, that was a quick recovery. He's walking.
Yes, I'm all right now, thanks to you. Perhaps I should introduce myself. My name is Omra. I'm glad to know you, Omra. I'm Buzz Corey, and this is Cadet Hackney. And right now, we're in a tight jam. Tight jam? Oh, you mean a dangerous situation.
Yeah, that's it, Omra. There are 2 men in that ship who are either going to blast us or land and take us captive.
But why? They're from Tiranna. They're planning to invade our planetary system, many light years from here. They're barbaric.
You mean you don't know anything about the Tiranians? Where are you from?
From Barkal, a system 8 light years from here. How does it happen you know our language? My mind is sensitive to your minds. How do you happen to be in the Tiranian system? It was an accident. And it was only by a superhuman effort that I averted a fatal crash on that meteor. And if you hadn't come to help me...
Iranian agent Kasurik calling Commander Corey. Prepare to surrender, Corey.
It's Smeed.
Answer me, Corey. This is Agent Kasurik, your old friend Matthew Smeed. Acknowledge and I'll give you General Mognier's orders.
I read you, Smeed. And for your information, I'm not interested in General Mognier's orders.
There is nothing you can do about it now, Corey. We will land on a meteor and take you with us. And I warn you, any attempt to resist may prove fatal. Osoriga.
See what we mean, Omra?
And you stopped to help me, knowing you were in danger from this man? Well, it looks like our help didn't accomplish much. Might as well warn you, Omra, we're going to fight. When Smeed and General Mognier land, this ship isn't going to be a very safe place for you. There's something else. I can't be sure, but I think your own planetary system is next on Tiranna's list for conquest. If Barkal has done nothing to the Tiranians...
Well, a lot that has to do with it. We didn't do anything to them either.
Come with me to my ship. Your ship's wrecked. Still, if you've got weapons aboard, we can make a stand there. There isn't much time. Hurry. All right, Omar. Adjust your face piece, Happen. Let's go.
In the damaged, airless hull of Omra's ship, the 3 men wearing spacesuits look through the nose port as the Tyrannian ship approaches the meteor.
Won't be long now, Omra. Let's have a look at those weapons and show us how to use them.
I have no weapons aboard, Commander.
What?
Excuse me, my friends. There is a matter I must attend to.
Gee, Commander, maybe you and I ought to go back to our ship. No, Smeed and General Mognier will probably assume we're there. Maybe that'll give us a chance to take them by surprise. Omra, what good is that spacephone going to do? It'll take that signal 8 years to reach Barkal. Maybe Omra's spacephone works through hyperspace, Ham. Well, even so, Smeed and the General can finish us before a Barkal ship could get here. And from the way Omra talks, well, they couldn't fight one Tiranian ship, let alone a whole fleet. There's Smeed's ship. It's up to us, Ham. What do we do? Wait till they get out of their ship and use the ray guns on them? It's the only thing we can do. They'll probably try to surprise us in our ship by entering through the cargo hatch. That'll be a break. We can trap them inside. Yeah. One of us can guard the cargo hatch and the other one the main hatch. What's holding them up? I know. They probably picked up Omra's signal. And they know that we're in here. Omra, could you cut off that transmitter?
All right, Commander.
What were you trying to do, Omra? Contact me. Look. They're up to something. They're shining some sort of light on us. Wow, what a glare. Don't look at it, Hap. It's some kind of special ray. Drop to the deck. I can still see that light, even with my eyes shut. It's burning into my brain. Commander, everything's turning black. We can work our way aft and get some shielding between us and that. It's no use, Commander. I can't move.
Under the effects of the mysterious ray, numbness creeps over the 2 space patrollers in Omra. Then complete oblivion. The next thing Buzz and Happy are aware of is a rotating, rushing sound and a painful throbbing in their heads. All is blackness, except for a few pinpoints of light. The points become blurs, and then suddenly come into focus. Happy turns and finds Buzz lying beside him.
Commander, can you hear me?
Yes, Happy.
We're in a ship, and we're spaceborne.
It's our own star drive ship. We're alone in the control compartment.
Oh, I never expected to wake up alive after that ray. I wonder how we got here.
Maybe Omra had something to do with it.
Well, how could he get us away from Smeed and General Mognier?
Let's get to the controls and check our position.
Oh, my head.
Stay right where you are, both of you. Smeed, Kusuri, if you please. And you remember General Mognier?
Yes, I remember.
And it's no pleasure.
It will be even less pleasure before long, Cadet.
You were right, Commander, about Barkall. Oh, they took you along, too, I see.
Yes, Corey. I want to thank you for saving Omra's life. His knowledge will be of great use to us when we attack his planet.
Why have you got us in our ship?
Well, it may be of use to us later. Look out the side ports.
Wow, a whole fleet of ships.
Yes. You are now a part of the Tirannian task force. In a moment, the entire fleet will go into star drive simultaneously and emerge near the United Planet.
Yeah, then we must have been unconscious for several hours.
Yes, Cadet. You have awakened just in time to watch the destruction of your Space Patrol defenses.
Tiranna, listen. But you should actually help Tiranna conquer your United Planet.
I am very sorry.
Save your sympathy for yourself, Omra.
Perhaps after you see what we do to the United Planet, you will persuade the people of Barkall to surrender at once.
What do you gain by this violence and conquest? You don't need these other planets for survival?
The Tyrannians have a greater destiny we must fulfill. We will not rest until we rule the entire galaxy.
And obviously we are fitted for this role. Or we would not succeed as we have. There's the warning signal. The entire fleet is going into star drive. Get to the controls, Kusuri.
Yes, General.
Now, Corey, you and the cadet are about to have a dramatic experience. In a few moments, you will see your entire United Planet in their last hour of freedom. And then our attack will begin. Go to the star drive.
Yes, General.
What's the matter, Kusuri? Go into star drive, I say.
Something is wrong.
This is Corey's ship. Make him fix it.
Come on, Corey, fix the star drive. We got to keep up with the rest of the task force.
Meade, this is your operation. You fix it.
Don't argue, Corey. Prepare that star drive. As General of the Intelligence Section, I've got to be with the rest of the fleet.
If you will look through the viewports, General, you will notice that you are with the fleet.
What's wrong? The ships are still there. They're still in the rocket drive.
Yes, General. At this rate, you should arrive at Commander Corey's solar system in about 3 centuries.
3 centuries? Omra, what are you talking about?
Look through the nose port, high above your fleet.
Smoke and rockets. Look at that ship. What a monster.
It's not a Tirannian ship. Where did it come from?
It is a ship from Barkall.
From Barkall?
Then your message got through. Yes, Commander. That ship is sending out radiations that cut off every star drive in the Tirannian fleet.
That's easily fixed. And on the space phone, Kusuri. I'll order the fleet to blast that Barkall ship to pieces.
Every weapon you have is useless, General. There will be no attack. You might as well order your fleet to return to their Tirannian bases.
Your lick, General. That's fine. You three are still our captains. And you'll pay for wrecking our plans. Kusuri, destroy them!
Hap gets Meade. Yes, sir. Never mind, Omra. We can handle it.
All right, Smeed. Mognier. Get your hands up. I don't know what these weapons of yours will do, but if you want me to find out, just start something.
General, don't move. Please.
Don't worry, Smeed. He won't move. The commander knocked him cold.
Commander, your planets are safe from attack by Tiranna from now on. That Barkall ship will destroy every star drive in the fleet. No Tiranna ship can ever invade another solar system again.
Hey, that's wonderful, Omra. Hey, but wait. How are we going to get back to Terra?
The Barkall ship won't completely destroy the star drive units until I give the word. After you return home. Will you take me to that big ship, please? Of course. What about Mognier and Smeed? I'll take care of them if you like. I'll return them to their home planet. They will never bother you nor anyone else again.
Are you going to punish them?
Punish them? Punish? That is a word that has no meaning in the Barkall language.
Oh. Well, let's see. It means...
It doesn't matter to me. Oma has completely stopped all Tirannian conquest. But I couldn't have done it if you hadn't sacrificed your own safety to help me. I hope your people and mine will always be friends. I'm sure we will be, Omra.
Sure, Omra. And I think I can explain punishment. It's what you're doing to Smeed and General Mognier.
I still don't understand.
You're fixing them so they'll never see anyone but their own kind. That's real punishment.
An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment. Hey, Hap, what's all the commotion around the Space Patrol bulletin board? It's so crowded I couldn't get up close enough to see.
I don't know, Captain. Hey, let's peer through our periscopes. Yeah, right over the heads of the crowd.
Good idea. Okay, now, what does it say?
Smoke and rockets. The message reads, last call for the Space Patrol periscope. Hey, that's right, too. Space Patrollers, this is the last time we can tell you about it. Go ahead, Captain, tell them.
A pleasure, Cadet. Gang, this is an honest-to-goodness periscope with magic mirrors. One on top, one on the bottom. Through them, you see around corners and over fences, around trees and over bushes, but nobody can see you. Yes, you see without being seen, and it's big, 24 inches high, tapered special for wide-angle vision. There's a special identification chart printed right on it. Pictures of the citizens of all the major planets.
Jumpin' Jupiter, you're going to have lots of fun playing secret space agent or Earth spy with a Space Patrol periscope. But remember, this is the last time that we can make this terrific offer.
So, Space Patrollers, right away today, send our rice checks or wheat checks box top, together with your name and address and 25 cents in coin to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. Don't forget your 25 cents and a rice checks or wheat checks box top.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Bite-sized checks taste good to me. Bite-sized checks, wheat checks, rice checks. Get your checkerboard cereal today.
And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy have just rescued two men from a damaged space freighter. Right now, in their spacesuits, they're helping the two men through the airlock into their patrol ship.
Close the hatch, Hap. Yes, sir. Raise our face pieces now.
The cadet will take you back aft, man.
Thanks.
Have that other fellow's injured. Better hold him.
Right, Commander.
I've got something in this box that'll make him feel better.
Oh, first aid kit, huh?
Not quite. If you don't get your hands up, you'll need more than a first aid kit.
Commander, it's a blast gun.
You're taking over the ship, Corey. Do as you're told, and you'll stay alive.
Be sure to be with us next week for the thrilling story, The Voice from the Future, when Nestle's Chocolate presents Space Patrol. Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Helen Moser. Other players were Ken Mayer, Norman Jolly, and Bela Kovach. Dick Tufeld speaking. This program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood.
This is ABC Radio Network.